The sick man's passport in her hollow beak, and in the shadow of the silent night doth shake contagion from her sable wings.
That's pretty gloomy, Master.
Sorry about that, everyone. I haven't quite finished getting ready, posting the things that I want to be posting. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? To get ready for the stream. Do you know what I'm saying? That's basically what I'm saying. What am I up to here? I'm saying hi to all of you. How are you all doing? What's going on? Welcome in. Let me just post this real quick to Instagram. Oh, fuck. Yeah, just move your widgets around randomly, Mule. Just fly them around. I've had a little mess with the stream again. I've changed a couple of things around. I've got, look at this, got a little banner up the top here. Whoa. Whoa. Look at that. Look at that. Spent all of 3 minutes doing that today. How are we all doing? Let me just make sure that this is sounding okay. Yeah, alright, that's good. I'm just, you know, I'm telling everyone on, I'm just telling everybody on Instagram that I'm going live. Man, you can really see the sty on my eye in this goddamn, in that goddamn light. Oh, let me get another filter on that. That looks so bad. It's high tech. We're doing high tech stuff. Hi Crypto Juice. Hi Middle Earth Marxist. Hi Frazo. Hi Catgirl Steph. How are you all doing? Are you okay? We're going to be covering a bunch of stuff today. We're going to be covering the Iran, Israel, and Palestine news. We're going to be covering the ICE protests that happened over the weekend. Some stuff about that. We're also going to be checking out the Trump parade. And we'll probably be finishing off with the Charlie Kirk brain rot. So we can have a little laugh at least. It is massive ad. How am I doing, I hear you ask? I'm doing very well, thanks, chat. I'm feeling healthier and healthier the more and more of my house that I clean, which is annoying me because it's like, yeah, damn, you've been living in shit for the last, you know, for the last 2 years or so. Not Asmongold level shit. I should absolutely just make sure that everyone is well aware. Definitely not that level, 100%. But I've certainly not like done the dusting. You know, I'm kind of a weird cleaner. I'll like clean stuff that I can see as it goes, as I go, as it were, and that means that I will miss stuff. Like, for example, the back of the PC here, the back of my stream station was just absolutely covered in dust. And it makes absolute sense as to why I've been having such an issue with my Ustation tubes, because it's like the dust. I'm going to be breathing in the dust. It's going to be bad. And yeah, as soon as I started like dusting everything today, it was like, oh, yeah, I'm feeling like, oh, I can think properly again. So it's just, I'm just so dumb, chat. But I mean, to be fair to myself, over the last couple of years, I've just been doing a lot of activism and being like outside a lot. So that's going to be it as well. I've also changed the position of my monitors. I've took them down. They were on like a shelf, and it meant that I was like looking up here at the news and stuff at the monitor screen. I brought them down to below eye level now, and that should hopefully help with migraines and getting dry eye and whatnot. So yeah, fingers crossed that gets sorted. Let me just add a link onto this Go Live story on Instagram. And you can follow me on Instagram, just there. Look at that. There you go. Now you know. You know what my usernames are and everything. It's just all there and you can see it. You can just see it, can't you? I am looking for link. There you go. And it will be https://twitch.tv/djmuel. Yeah, music could do with being a tiny bit louder, couldn't it? Yeah, there you go. Customize sticker text. Click here for stream. There you go. Alright, that's done, chat. The promo is done. And there's also promo that you can help with as well if you go to promo. Oh, I need to change the command list as well, because that is not right. Commands. Hey, PM Triox, how you doing? Another F-35 shot down just now? Jesus Christ. Hey, Beanie Gaby, how are you doing? Yeah, it just doesn't stop, does it? It just does not stop. Go live tweet is now known as the promo tweet. Let's save that. Okay. And the red planet, did I change? Yes, the red planet one is sorted. Alright, okay. Let's get into it. Let's read what the chat is saying. Finally, Mule's following the 12 rules for life. You know, you just have to. You can't, you are not allowed to judge others if you have a dirty house, a dirty gaff. Finished work and climbed a ladder to scrape a bucket full of moss out of a gutter by hand. Lovely times. Damn, that is a whole thing to have to do. I am not jealous, even remotely. I'll be growing strawberries, by the way, Steph. I don't know if I've definitely not kept anyone on the update about this. I don't know if I told anyone, but I got a ladybird larva to eat a bunch of aphids that were on my strawberry plants, and then it turned into a ladybird, and it has been hanging around and still eating aphids off my strawberry plants, and now my strawberry plants are thriving. But they're very, very tiny strawberries. I can't remember what variety you said that they were, Steph, but they're a very deep red and a very tiny strawberry. I've never seen anything like it in my life. Little house lady. Yeah, it's really cute. Hey, Mr. Dank, how are you? Last count was 4, not including the F-16s that were confused last I saw, though I took a break. Interesting. Let's check it out. We've got a lot of different angles to cover this from. Yeah, I saw your strawberries. I saw your strawberries in the Discord. Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty nice. Jalapenos have a gnat problem and neem oil isn't helping. Yeah, it's really tough, Mr. Dank. You've just got to, like, not water them. My best advice for jalapeno plants, chili plants, anything like that, or any plants, if you start getting fungal gnats, just do not water them. And I know it's scary. I know that it's as soon as you start seeing your plants start to droop, and it's scary. Don't worry. They're not going to die. They won't die. They won't die. I promise you, it will be okay. Just let them droop a little bit and then water them, and then let them droop a little bit more and then water them. It's really tough. It's really, really tough. But that's the only way to get rid of the gnats, because they just thrive on too much water in the soil. So there you go. They do that even when I water them, finicky bastards. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Just leave it and leave it and leave it. Check the soil with your finger, like, put your finger in the soil, like, just get it right in there. Right up there, Morty, and check it. And if it's like, if you get like an inch down and it's dry, then you know that it's a good amount of time. Always bottom water so the surface stays drier. Yes, put the water in the bottom. If you have a little bowl that you put your pot in, and then put the water in that, and then it'll draw it up, and then leave it, take it out after it's stopped getting the water, and there you go. The F-35 sure sucks. I hope a bunch of imperialist allies didn't sign up for an incredibly expensive lease agreement on that one. Oh! Yeah. Who knows? They probably did. They probably did, and that's quite funny, isn't it? It's quite funny, isn't it? Right, so let's get straight on this, everybody. So where are we up to at the minute? Essentially, there's been strikes in Iran and Israel. They've been trading blows over the last few days. It seems that Iran has been getting rid of a lot of old hardware, and they've been interjecting, sort of interspersing their first wave of strikes with new hardware. I can't remember the name of the new hypersonic missile that they've been using, but it's called like a Shahed something or other. And that has been quite devastating for Israel. I wonder if I showed any of this on the stream the other day. Let me see if I can find it. But when we had the first round of attacks from Iran, Israel was saying all kinds of misinformation to try and make it seem like nothing had happened. Hannibal Brigade has always got pretty good coverage of this stuff. Let me check out and see if I can find the post that he did on Blue Sky the other day, which showed the destruction of the IOF's military headquarters. Here we go. This is fucking crazy, chat. We're gonna start with this because I want everyone to understand just how important it is to not believe everything that you hear, especially from Western media regarding this. It's a very inaccurate source of reporting. I'm going to show you this video from the IDF Hannibal Brigade's account. Let me just zoom in a little bit, make sure we can get a good look at this.
Trey Yingst has been up all night, is standing by with all the details. Trey, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Laura, following that Israeli attack against Iranian nuclear facilities and top IRGC leadership overnight and into today, the Iranians have responded with 3 waves of ballistic missiles.
So this reporting is true, and Trey Yingst is, funnily enough, for a Fox News journalist, just reporting. Literally just reporting.
This is Israel's version of the Pentagon, the Kiryat. And the building on this compound was just hit.
Please go back, please.
So you hear that? That is the IOF telling Trey Yingst, stop reporting on the actual news, please. Just go back. Don't show that our Pentagon, our version of the Pentagon was hit.
You can understand here, it's very tense at this specific location because the Iranians are now targeting the defense establishment of Israel. And so I'm going to have my cameraman pan up here to this building just across the street from the Kiryat. And
so really, really interesting that Fox News dropped a minute after this was the first wave of strikes from Iran. They hit the, essentially, like he says, the defense headquarters of the IOF in Tel Aviv. There were some other things that they hit. Iran is weak and can't hit shit except for all of our civilians who totally weren't inside the IDF HQ. Yeah, exactly. So there's some reporting from Trey Yingst, some interesting stuff going on there. Saw this the other day. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy stuff, but you know, what else can we expect from the Zionist entity? So this is a report from Haaretz, and apparently the government has ordered airlines not to take Israelis abroad even when rescue flights begin. Now again, even from Haaretz, you have to take this with a pinch of salt. If it is what they're doing, this is exactly what the Nazis did when Berlin was being advanced upon back in the day. They did not let any of their civilians leave and escape, and they forced them to attack with makeshift weapons. They're allowed to go in still, apparently, yeah. Now, what is really funny, yeah, now there's rarely funny stuff about war and stuff like this, and when conflicts start to escalate and all that kind of business, but some of the funniest stuff that I've seen recently is some of the biggest dick suckers of the Zionist entity from other areas of the Imperial Core, like, for example, this one correspondent from GB News called, I think his name is Benjamin Butters or something, or Benjamin Butterworth, I can't remember what his name is, Benjamin Button, and he is currently trapped in Tel Aviv, along with Caitlyn Jenner, and someone called Lee Kern, who constantly tries to have a go at artists, musicians, creatives who take part in the cultural boycott, because he was one of the writers of Borat, right? We all know how racist Borat was as a film, and it was obviously written by famous liberal Zionist Sacha Baron Cohen, who also made such counter class, what would you call it, class traitor. I don't know if he was ever working class, but it was a classist film. Ali G in the house, essentially taking the piss out of chavs, scallies, you know, that kind of culture that existed within the working class, that still basically exists in the working class. So his co-writer, one of 12 writers of Borat, is trapped in the Zionist entity in Tel Aviv at the moment, so that's quite funny. What else do we got here? We've had all kinds of absolutely insane statements from politicians. We're going to go through a few of them, including Netanyahu, including Sipi Holatevi. What else do we got here? We got some horrific stuff about what they've been doing with Palestinians. Here's Lee Kern. Don't fuck with Israel. Continue to shoot your mouth off, little online racists. But in your heart, you know you can't fuck with Israel, and you're scared. Lee Kern tweeting this from a bunker. How long before he bricks it and runs back to the UK? Yeah. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. That's it. Arma 3 footage reared its head against a Trick News Corps. Let's see that, PM. Have you got a can I give you a permit? How do I get you a permit? I think I just have to like permit PM Triox. I don't know if you can get me a link. If the 183 seconds runs out, if you don't manage to get it me in 3 minutes, just ask me for another permit. I'd love to see it. If you don't have a link, don't worry, but I would love to check that out. Yeah, nice one. I'd love to see the armor footage. Because that happened with the Ukraine-Russia war in the early days of that. Just mental stuff. Also, hi, Alejandro. How you doing? Yeah, those quote comedies, the epitome of post 9/11 content, just like horrific stuff. So we got Lee Kern over here. Little win it. Hope he shits himself and goes back to the UK. Or do I? I don't know. Maybe I want him to stay there. Anyway, utterly insane that Quensberg didn't want to interject here. What's the point of even being there? So again, we've got Sipi Hotaveli. I can never get her name right. Talking on Sky News here. Sorry, on BBC Politics News. Excuse me, with Laura Quensberg. And again, what you've got to remember at this point is that she has been pushed back on in loads of ways in the mainstream media in the lead up to the war. And it's questionable as to whether Netanyahu decided to jump the gun on the plan with the US to attack Iran before things got too bad for Israel's reputation, because it's quite obvious that Israel's reputation was taking a tanking, even in the mainstream media. And I wonder if it was like, right, we've got to do this now, otherwise people are just going to hate us. And that's that. But this is BBC News platforming Sipi Holotevi again. And apparently Laura Quensberg doesn't even push back on this. Thank you very much for that link. I'll check that out in a minute. Okay.
Dramatic escalation in the long burning, simmering enmity between Israel and Iran. Why won't you heed calls from the UK and others to de-escalate, to stop?
Because de-escalation means that Iran won't have nuclear capabilities. It's as simple as that. The UK has been our partner for many years to fight Iran's nuclear ambitions. Everyone agrees, the US, the UK, other allies, that Iran with nuclear capabilities will be devastating to the region, including the Gulf countries. Now, we are in a point where President Trump gave 60 days of negotiation to...
The only thing that is a threat to the region that is a nuclear-armed state, which literally just bombed another state and has bombed over the last 600 days pretty much every country in the region, except for the UK-US puppet states, puppet regimes in Syria. Oh, it's bombed Syria, actually. Sorry, I'm lying. Before they overthrew Assad. And, you know, except for Saudi Arabia, except for Jordan, except for Qatar, except for Oman, you know, pretty much attacked everybody. Lebanon, Yemen, Iran, it attacked Iran. Where else? God, I mean, obviously Palestine.
The Iranians to give a diplomatic solution, and the Iranians didn't really wanted to have any diplomatic solution. They were actually, when the IAEA...
This is a lie. This is a lie. They absolutely, they were willing to give up any nuclear weapon progression and research. If the US and Israel ended all sanctions, they would have accepted that deal on day one. But the US and Israel did not want to give them that deal. The deal they wanted was no nuclear programs, not even civilian. Because the US and Israel are psycho-paranoid states who actually never had any intention of letting them develop any kind of civilian nuclear power or uranium enrichment programs, because they want the monopoly of oil in the region. That is the only reason that this war is happening. It's the only reason that this has been happening. You know, they are just platforming Israel at this point on BBC News.
Published this report that was clearly showing that Iran was misleading the international community, enriching uranium. And we saw, with our intelligence abilities, that they were racing fast to get nuclear bombs with the combination of enrichment and weaponization. When all this happened, we had to move fast to operate against Iran's nuclear ambitions.
But let me tell people also what the Director of Intelligence of the United States said very clearly recently. We continue to assess that Iran is not yet building a nuclear weapon. Israel has
crazy
from Iran for many years. There was no imminent threat.
There was imminent threat, and can I please ask you something? We both are not nuclear experts, but I think everyone knows that in order to have an enrichment of uranium, you need to have, for your civil capabilities, it's enough to have 3.5%. And they were enriching beyond 60%. So what do you think was their aim?
And yet the assessment from the United States was that as things stand, Iran has not at this point been building a nuclear weapon. There was, in that regard, no imminent threat. And there were talks due today.
There was an imminent threat. I beg to differ. You're definitely not.
This is pretty weak pushback. I thought that this was going to be worse than what it is. It's not so bad for Quensberg. You know, again, the way that this should be being handled is Laura should be saying to Sippy, but Israel has nuclear weapons. And Israel has shown itself to be unstable in the region. Israel has bombed so many people. It's a belligerent. You know. Big mistake on Iran's part. MAD works despite doomsday clock essentialists say. Sorry, I don't know what you mean. I don't know what that is. MAD. Same report where Saddam had weapons of mass destruction. I'm sure they were super convinced of that also. Yeah, same shit again. This is Iraq War 2.0, without a shadow of a doubt. Mutually assured destruction. Sorry. Yeah.
In line with the fact that the Iranians were both...
Iran was holding up their end of the Obama-era nuclear deal, which Trump whipped up because I can make a better deal. I can make a better deal, the best deal, and has comprehensively failed to do so. Yeah, because he's always wanted to do what Israel wants to do, which is to create this monopoly on oil, because all these psychos want to do is loot the empire. They're seeing the dying days of the empire, the dying days of US hegemony all over the world. They're like, shit, looks like climate change is actually real. So I guess we're just gonna live our lives in the most decadent way that we possibly can, make as much money as possible out of this dying empire, and we're going to chastise anyone who disagrees with us, because what other choice is there? What, make a better world for people? Have social safety nets? What? Why would we bother doing that? Let's ride into the fire, because this imperialist fascism, fascist hegemony is a death cult, and that's all we care about.
Creating this program to destroy Israel, to eliminate Israel. And you know something? After 7th of October...
Hey, Johnny, yeah, you're absolutely right, yeah.
When our enemies are saying clearly they want to eliminate Israel, and they are preparing the capabilities, and I think the IAEA report is quite clear about that, then we should believe them.
Yeah, Iran declared a day before these attacks happened that they had intelligence that the IAEA, or whatever it is, the IAEA, the body that inspects nuclear weapons in different countries on behalf of the US, was compromised and was working with Israel.
Israel here was acting...
They had intelligence that was the case.
An imminent threat.
Yeah, well, eat shit, Sippy. I hate you so much. Here we got some Zios who are certainly showing how many people really support Israel and the Zionist project in the UK at the moment. Look at this with the Scottish flag, man. This is messed up. It's messed up that they do this shit. Absolute nonsense. Yeah, just like 8 people over here. Crazy. 70% will have been paid or blackmailed to show up. Yeah, for real. For real. Apparently Rachel Reeves has also said Israel has every right to defend itself. Not even remotely surprised. Horrific, evil, actual vampire Rachel Reeves, who literally just wants disabled people to die so that more and more people, so that the government can steal more and more money in the UK, doing the same kind of shit as Donald Trump. Hey Prince, how you doing? Good to see you. Only say a few minutes because Mondays are busy. No worries, it's great to see you. Hope you're doing good. The moral depravity and bankruptcy of all Western corporate journalism exposed for the world to see by Iranian professor Marandi, who exists on a completely different moral plane. Brilliant exposure. More Marandi, please. I heard that this one Sky News journalist, I can't remember her name, is normally quite good and has been quite good over the last few weeks. I think Hassan is going to go on her podcast or something in the next few weeks or something. But... and she's had other prominent people interview, but she does a really garbage job on this one. I've actually seen this interview, pre-watched this one, but it's
important. But how do you know?
Very important.
The top commanders have been killed. Are you denying the top commanders were killed?
Oh, so you mean what you're referring to basically is an attack, an act of aggression, that they suddenly fire missiles at civilian targets at apartment buildings and slaughter people in those apartment buildings, slaughtering whole families. For you, that's targeting. That's a really sophisticated act.
But if I can just ask, have military facilities been hit? Have nuclear facilities been hit?
One of the buildings that had some of these commanders, one or two of these commanders, was a large apartment building where they killed everyone, 60 people, 20 children. That's not important for people like you, but that's important for people like us. For you, people like you who support ethno-supremacism and the chosen people being able to slaughter and exterminate Palestinians.
Professor Marandi, I'm just trying to get the perspective. We're trying to give you airtime so that you can give us the Iranian perspective.
No, but he's right. You are twisting his... You are reporting on this and you're asking the questions to present the imperial core and the imperial states who are supporting Israel in this endeavor as the good guys, and also that Israel is doing a good job. You're asking an Iranian guy. He's giving her the perspective she's asking for. Yeah, exactly.
On this, and we want to know, and I want to understand Iran's position here. Will you come to the negotiating table now? Donald Trump, after these series of airstrikes,
it's such a tired point.
To the negotiating table as the spokesperson of the regime, or
they assassinated the guy who was the head of negotiations. Israel assassinated the guy who was the head of negotiations. What kind of question is this?
Someone who worked closely with the negotiating team.
He's laughing because he knows.
To the negotiating table now.
Well, your regime should know, and your news agency or your TV channel should know better. We were at the negotiating table. It was Trump that conspired with Netanyahu to attack Iran. This is how you twist the truth. You shouldn't invite me because you're easily exposed. Iran was negotiating. Initially, Trump had one position, and so did Witkoff. And then they flipped and said no enrichment. And then they continued the negotiations. And the night before the attack, Trump said that we don't want war. And then after the attack, he said, we're all for it. And you're saying Iran? Is Iran going to come back to the negotiating table? The audacity. Come on. Be a bit, show at least a bit of integrity. A bit of integrity will help.
Okay. Okay, Professor Morandi, thanks again for joining us here on the program.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you should speak to interviewers like that who are, you know, essentially presenting the imperialist perspective and pushing that narrative while, you know, claiming to want the perspective of, you know, Iranians. Being good for Sky News, yeah, same as Ali Velshi being good for an MSNBC host, but there's a reason why he's still there and Mehdi Hassan is not. I don't even like Mehdi. This woman is still an imperial mouthpiece. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I'm not saying for a second that she isn't an imperialist mouthpiece. I absolutely, especially in this interview, like, it is terrible. So here's an interesting thing. This is from Asa Winstanley of the Electronic Intifada. Yossi Melman, this guy is an intelligence reporter who says the euphoria was short-lived. On Friday morning, I asked whether it was even necessary to start a war, especially against the Iranians. The Shiites are historically willing to suffer. I mentioned their willingness to sacrifice as they demonstrated in the 8 years of attrition with Iraq. I recommend that we cut our losses and turn to Trump to stop the madness with a reasonable agreement. Otherwise, we will end up begging for a ceasefire and Iran will refuse. I mean, that would be pretty funny if that was the outcome, to be honest. You know, the intelligence reporter normally has a good idea of what is going on in the internal workings of the state that they're operating in. You know, crazy stuff. Let's hear what Netanyahu has to say. Netanyahu let slip false flag plan to assassinate Trump and blame Iran. Looking like absolute dog shit here. I have never ever seen him look this bad. I confess I was watching Twitch, Hassan, not targeted at you, of course. Wait, what?
I want to talk about the nuclear threat, and I want to talk about President Trump. You just said Iran tried to assassinate President Trump twice. Do you have intel that the assassination attempts on President Trump were directly from Iran?
Through proxies, yes. Through their intel, yes. They want to kill him. Look, he's enemy number one. He's a decisive leader. He never took the path that others took to try to bargain with them in a way that is weak, giving them basically a pathway to enrich uranium, which means...
No worries, Alejandro. Hang on, what's he saying?
Were directly from Iran?
Through proxies, yes. Through their intel, yes. They want to kill him. Look, he's enemy number one. He's a decisive leader. He never took the path that others took to try to bargain with them in a way that is weak, giving them basically a pathway to enrich uranium, which means a pathway to the bomb, padding it with billions and billions of dollars. He took up this fake agreement and basically tore it up. He killed Qasem Soleimani. He made it very clear, including now, you cannot have a nuclear weapon, which means you cannot enrich. He's been very forceful. So
he just admitted Iran never actually attacked them? Wait.
Attempts on President Trump were directly from Iran?
Through proxies, yes. Through their intel, yes. They want to kill him. Look, he's enemy number one.
That's true. He said through their proxies. I was wondering what the fuck he meant by that. I was like, through their proxies? Like, who is he referring to? Like, the resistance movement in Iraq? Or, I don't know. But not Iran. Incredible.
Our American friends and President Trump, our great friend, ahead of time. No, we did. You knew about it, of course.
Whoa.
Our American friends and President Trump is a great threat to Iran's plans to weaponize nuclear weapons and use them.
When did you tell President Trump you were going to launch these strikes?
look, I've been in constant contact with President Trump. We've known each other for many years. And obviously, we informed our American friends and President Trump, our great friend, ahead of time. We did. He knew about it, of course.
I mean, there were reports that President Trump kind of helped you achieve your strategic surprise by publicly urging you not to attack when he already knew you had decided to do it. So you were closely coordinating with the U.S. throughout this process.
Look, we're fully coordinated, but understand that America, under President Trump, will make the decisions that are best for America. And that's the way it is. He understands that I, as the Prime Minister of Israel, the one and only Jewish state, must make the decisions that are important for the survival of my country, and he will do what is best for America.
Yeah, man, I'm sure that is what's going on, and I believe you 100%, BB. You're definitely not chatting rubbish just to make people confused and scared and not actually understand what's going on. I can't figure out why no one likes them. So this is a bit of content from a Zionist who is apparently being super racist. So just bear that in mind as we watch this.
You said you wanted the nuke. We heard you wanted to get cooked. For the first time in Israel's history, we woke up yesterday to a war siren.
Okay, we'll have a siren. This took over my phone.
If someone rises to kill you, well, rise earlier. Iran was rushing towards 15 nuclear bombs. They started to get armed with ballistics to go. And we're like, no. We were asleep during your project on October 7th, but not anymore. This is the most moral thing you can do. Not only for the Jews, also for you, soy-sipping Europe. We started with their military...
Soy-sipping Europe. Zionists are so mad. Zionists are so mad that everyone in Europe hates them now. God, I swear to God, the only people who are actually supporting them are the states, and even some states in Europe are like, yeah, no, I'm not sure about this. We might go ahead and recognize a Palestinian state. I'm not sure about that, man.
Then the Revolutionary Guard seniors, then their nuclear scientists, a sip of their ballistic missiles, and their nuclear weapon facilities, one by one. It's humiliating, I get it. I mean, you thought you were the masters of manipulation. Seems like Trump and Netanyahu gave you a lesson. I mean, you were sure you fooled.
Oh, this content is like so gross, so incredibly gross. I can't fucking stand this shit.
But what happened in the end? Trump just helped us to get you tucked in your bed. And then we came after you threatened us for so long. And all we needed was a hole in your wall. Maybe you should call someone. Maybe you should call a medium or something.
Like acting like so high and mighty and so superior because, you know, their country is bombing a non-nuclear armed state with nuclear weapons. They've got nuclear weapons, Israel. This is the way that villains speak. Literally. She's completely tone deaf. Yeah, Daddy America cleaned up our shit. We're so sovereign. Yeah. I literally like smashed into the room. I smashed into a party. I shat myself, and then my dad came and said, "If any of you losers touch this guy, you are dead." We're so good. We're so good, and we're so based. We're so smart. We attacked your children and civilians while you were sleeping. You know. Not enough that your government feels it has to support them begrudgingly, you have to clap for them like they're Tinkerbell and about to die if the children of the world don't scream they believe in fairies. It's so fucked up, honestly.
What about his baboon boom? No? And to think you trained them exactly for this moment. They were all the protectors of the regime and the nuke. But what can we do? Send us the last beat. They're not so cooperative. So who's going to help you? Maybe the Houthis with 1 missile a day? Iraqi militias? Oh well. Maybe you should try Hamas. Good luck with that. Oh, they can't fight if they can't take their women and children to sacrifice. You see, we might be tiny compared to Iran, but even tiny can get the job done. We are prepared for a long war. We can take your...
She is literally a villain.
Missiles attack all day long. You forgot who you're fighting. You're fighting the Jews. All of our biggest enemies are not dots in history books. You hear this roar? You hear this sound? It's gonna shake your throne and bring your regime down.
The smartest thing the Imperial Corps ever did was like, yo, this really persecuted minority, let's weaponize their identity and their persecution and use it to just like kill every brown person ever. It's sick. So this came through last night. This is from Dropsite News. Israel is planning a Dahiyeh-style assault on Tehran. Israel has approved a new strike plan aimed at destabilizing Iran's government through direct attacks on Tehran and forced civilian displacement, according to Israel's Channel 14. So they're looking to completely attack civil infrastructure. If you look at the Dahiyeh doctrine, it's crazy because I've been, following Israel and the Zionist entity and Palestine for such a long time, and every now and then you just learn of a new thing, and if you read through it here, it has its own Wikipedia page, it's got a summary with all these sources and everything. It's literally like an Israeli military strategy involving large-scale destruction of civilian infrastructure or domicide. Yeah, the Gaza model on a whole country. On a whole fucking country. I mean, they did the Gaza model on a whole country, technically, with Palestine, right? But they're doing it again. They're doing it again. Has John Bolton exploded from cum yet? Yeah, no, he's absolutely drained. Drained. So the operation authorized by Prime Minister Netanyahu and Defense Minister Israel Katz is designed to strike regime targets inside the capital while triggering mass evacuations in a move explicitly intended to pressure and destabilize the Iranian leadership. DM Katz conveyed the message in a post on Twitter to Khamenei. Tehran will be treated like Beirut, a reference to Israel's 2006 destruction of southern Beirut under the so-called Dahiyeh doctrine. The IDF has begun issuing Farsi language evacuation threats to civilians near purported military sites in Tehran. So this is exactly like the ones that they give to Palestinians in Gaza. Israel struck Iran's Ministry of Defense, its foreign ministry, and a house adjacent to the communications ministry earlier today, with more attacks promised soon. This is Netanyahu signaling the attended plan on Fox News in the same interview we saw earlier.
Two existential threats, the nuclear threat and the ballistic missile threat. And we're doing that as we speak now in Tehran, but we're not bombing the population. We're telling the population, leave. So when we hit the targets embedded in civilian areas, you won't be hurt. And there's now mass migration from Tehran right now. That's what's happening. So because we're giving them forewarning.
They are already hitting random apartment buildings. They are bombing whatever the fuck they want. Do not let them tell you that Iran is purposefully hiding its weapons facilities, its defense agencies in civilian areas. Israel does this. Israel does this. So this came out yesterday. Benjamin Netanyahu wants to continue to escalate the ground invasion and starvation of Palestinians to absolutely take over Gaza and destroy Palestinian life. So I have a little bit of an interesting take on this. I've said this before. I don't think I've said it in any of my content, live or published or anything like that, but I genuinely believe that they will fail if they try and invade Gaza with a ground invasion, because they've been trying to do that over the last 2 years and failing, because Al-Qassam and Sarai al-Quds, the brigades that are from Jerusalem and Gaza, are constantly attacking and constantly winning against IOF incursions into the territory. They do it all the time. If you watch the Electronic Intifada, John Elmer always does the resistance report. We've watched that on the stream before. They will continue to do it. I absolutely do not think for a second that they will make much ground. I think that while their military, while their air force, while the Iron Dome is concentrating on Iran, I think they'll find it more difficult. They are still massacring Gazans. They're constantly doing that. They've been doing that this whole time. Even while the humanitarian crisis is deepening in Gaza, and we have a pretty upsetting and disturbing video to show you in a minute. It might be the next one. It is. So this is Israeli forces. Now, what you'll notice here, I'm gonna quieten this down a little bit because I think it's quite loud. Only in one ear as well. Why is this only coming out of the right ear? Hold up, chat. Let me just make this so it's mono. I remember mono. Just make it mono for the time being. Hey. So what you'll notice here is that this is a Hebrew logo in the top left. This is the IPS spokesperson. I don't really know what the IPS stands for. Israel Propaganda Services, I don't know. But this is something that they're boasting about doing. Israeli forces raided the cells of Palestinian captives after some allegedly expressed joy during the rocket fire on Israel, part of Minister Ben Gvir's policy of punishing any show of Palestinian resistance or joy. So this is them proudly displaying for everybody in the world to see. Everyone can just look at this. You can watch my stream. You can find this on their Twitter. This is the account that it come from, I think. I don't know if this is a reporter in Israel. But, this is something that they're proud of, that they're celebrating. Yeah, just zip tie him, point guns at them. Literally completely defenseless. Like, look at this shit, man. Look at this shit. And, based on the reports that we've had from what happens in these detention centers, they're going to be doing some unspeakable acts to those Palestinian prisoners. Like, you just know they are. It doesn't even bear thinking about. The Zionist entity needs to end yesterday. It is just fucking despicable, this shit. Some other stuff that's been happening. So while the raids have been happening in the in Israel, while the strikes have been happening, they have been preventing Thai and other foreign workers from entering the underground bunkers. Again, this is an ethno-state, and when people say ethno-state, they don't just mean Jews versus Muslims. Very important that we always remember this stuff. It's not Jews versus Muslims, it's white Jews versus anyone who isn't that. So even black Jewish people, even Arab Jewish people, anyone who is not white Jewish is literally getting the ethno-state apartheid treatment. Thanks so much for the follow. Appreciate that. Telling him to get out. Mental. Absolutely mental. Sick stuff. Let's check out the Al Jazeera channel. Let's see what they have been talking about, what they've been reporting on. One of the more reliable sources in reporting this war is Al Jazeera. So we're going to check this out, this report. Israel-Iran tensions, attack and defense capabilities. Let's take a little look at this. It's quite long. It's 28 minutes, so I'm just going to let this go.
As Israel and Iran continue to attack each other, how do their militaries compare? Israel's air force dominates the skies, while Iran relies heavily on ballistic missiles. But who will have the upper hand as the war rages on? This is Inside Story.
The only army with an expertise exclusively in fighting the unarmed, yeah. Why would they post this? Who is it for? Yeah, it is obvious.
Hello, welcome to the program. I'm Nick Clark. So, it's been several days now since Israel launched its surprise attack on Iran. The conflict has, of course, since escalated, with each side launching dozens of strikes. And since the warring sides do not share a border, the attacks have largely been focused on airstrikes. While Iran may have the largest stock of missiles and drones in the Middle East, Israel's air force is considered one of the most powerful in the world, and its air defense system one of the most advanced.
Again, Israel's air force.
So is one military at a clear
is the US and the Imperial Corps Air Force.
And are there other factors?
All right, Prince, see you in a bit. Thanks so much for hanging out.
We'll put all this to our guests in a moment. But first, Imogen Kimber takes a look at the two militaries.
Tel Aviv and Tehran, 1,000 kilometres apart. with Jordan and Iraq in between. That means the conflict between Iran and Israel is largely being conducted through airstrikes.
Damn.
Both militaries speak of their strength.
Without a doubt, the scope of the devastating response by the brave Iranian fighters will encompass all areas of the occupied lands. Our wonderful pilot.
Notice how they don't even say Israel. They say the occupied lands.
Are above Tehran. Tehran is burning and they are evacuating. Massive evacuation.
But how do the two militaries...
See, as soon as Netanyahu speaks in Hebrew, you know that he's basically just chatting rubbish for Israelis.
Defense systems are central to the fight. Israel's is sophisticated. Its Iron Dome shoots down short-range missiles. Its so-called David Sling can take out short-range ballistic and cruise missiles, and Arrow 2 and Arrow 3 can intercept longer-range ballistic missiles.
He does that in English too, yeah, but it's way more intense when he speaks in Hebrew.
But nothing similar to Israel. And Israel claims to have destroyed a large portion of what it had.
Wait, what exactly did I say? He lies? What I mean by he's lying is he makes the propaganda far more it's just far more exaggerated when he's speaking Hebrew is what I meant by that. Like, he is just over and over and over again repeating lies and lies and lies, like just bigging up the numbers, bigging up everything. I mean, again, yeah, you're right, he does do that in English too, but when he's speaking in Hebrew, you know those lies are going to be so much bigger.
It's thought Iran has thousands of ballistic and cruise missiles, along with more standard missiles and thousands
Major
of drones.
Code switching. Hey, Half a Laptop, how you doing?
The largest in the Middle East. Iran has been utilising its missiles to get through Israel's defences, causing considerable damage. It could likely keep this up for weeks.
It is interesting that the Al Jazeera reporter said this is that the Israeli defense system are sophisticated compared to Iran's, because it's like, I mean, we've not really seen them intercept the vast majority of missiles. I guess it just depends what information they have and what information we're getting. Again, it's a war of information, as most wars are. Hey, Emmy, how you doing? Welcome in. Everybody go follow Emmy Faye.
Technology that can make precision strikes, while sanctions have cut Iran off from purchasing high-tech weapons. Then there is air power. Israel's air force is larger and advanced.
Yeah, they've intercepted an apartment block, yeah.
US-supplied multi-purpose jet fighters. It's this unit that has been bombing Tehran. While Iran's fleet is aging, some of which were acquired...
Tea, orange juice, or just drawing for the next however many hours.
Israel can also rely on the US to restock its arsenal.
Can you not drink while you're doing...
for Iran.
While you're drawing?
And finally, nuclear capabilities.
Why not all three?
Israel claims
tea, orange juice, and drawing.
Israel reportedly has several nuclear warheads, and Iran does not. However, Iran does have nuclear sites.
That's because you are cool, Emmy.
It wants to destroy before it stops the attacks.
Requires you stop drawing to make it.
If that will be
I am right. I'm on it.
Which of the militaries can keep up the fight?
Quite often I'm right.
Imogen Kimber, Al Jazeera for Inside Story.
Do you know what I've just realised, chat? The new chat messages are not going to be showing in the way that I've configured this video. That is very, very silly Billy hours from me there. All right, there we go. This is how you do it. This is how you do it. Yeah, there you go. That's the best way.
All right, let's take this on with our guests. In Amman, Mahmoud Abu Nawar, a retired Jordanian Air Force general. In Munich, we have Marina Miron, a military analyst and researcher in the war studies.
Yeah, more sophisticated does not necessarily mean more effective. That's right.
Fellow for Air Power and Technology at RUSI, the Royal United Services Institute. A warm welcome to each of you. Marina, I'd like to start with you, first of all, because I'd like to just understand precisely the parameters of what's happening here. This is, isn't it, very much a war of the skies. All the damage being inflicted on both sides is coming from above, right? And that's unlikely to change.
Well, that is correct for now. Of course, we have to consider every scenario, even if it's not very possible or the probability is very low for it. But I would, for now at least, exclude a clash of land forces of both armies. And we have to bear in mind that Iran is about 9 times bigger than Israel, so it has much more potential. It is less compact. But the question would be, on which territory would such a clash take place? Could be Iraq, could be Syria. So it is complicated. But for now, the war will most likely continue in the sky with Israel.
They're all fascists. It doesn't matter how sophisticated the weaponry is, they're all fascists, Sorry, I've just realised, chat, I've not had subtitles on. Sorry about that.
Using US-made F-35s, modified F-35s, against the somewhat antiquated Iranian air defenses. However, Iran has a strength in terms of its missile program, which has been going on for decades now. And despite the sanctions, the Iranians have managed to produce quite a lot of variants, including the Fatah 1, which is believed to be a hypersonic missile. In order
we're
to
going to get into the capabilities.
Fatah 1, that's the hypersonic missile,
First, Mamoun. As Marina just mentioned, these are not adjacent countries. All this hardware and ordnance is flying over both ways, over Syria and Iraq, and not far from Jordanian airspace. How worrying is that?
We're very worried because...
US fleets that diverted to Iran's southern coast seem a good guess as to where the ground war will start. Yeah.
On top of Jordan,
I think that's a really good...
Jordanian airspace, but Jordan,
a good guess, PM Triox.
Informed everybody that it will not allow any flying object, airplane or any other type, to penetrate its airspace. So if any of these objects flew over Jordan, Jordan would shoot them down, according to the capability, of course. But this is what Jordan policy is, to prevent anyone to penetrate its sovereignty and to shoot down anything.
And that just demonstrates that the kind of tensions that we're talking about. Justin, Israel has aerial superiority over Iran. There is no doubt about that. Is the Iranian Air Force totally ineffectual, do you think?
I think at this stage, it would be close to suicidal for the Iranian Air Force to attempt any sort of conventional defensive counter-air campaign or even isolated operations. The level of technical overmatch, and also being outnumbered, and the degree to which Israel would have the situational awareness advantage for its own aircraft, even over Tehran, for example, itself, means that I think it is very unlikely we'll see the Iranian Air Force take off. More worrying for...
What is he basing that on? I thought the Iranian Air Force had already started fighting.
Would probably be the danger
Hey,
that
Sorka.
Some surface-to-air missile batteries might start to present a pop-up threat over the coming days as their crews can reorientate towards the new threat context that they're facing, because it's very difficult for Israel to take out all of Iran's surface-to-air missile systems, even though they very badly degraded the air defense network. It's also worth noting that the one exception to the so far almost exclusively air and missile exchanges.
They're using F5s, they're not that good, compared to the F-35s and F-16s.
Operations against Iranian air defenses on the first night with teams inside Iran. So there has been some special forces activity.
40-year tech gap,
Ground-based clash that we might have expected previously from such a conflict between Israel and Iran would have been via...
Iran has thousands and thousands of manpads. Wait, what did he say?
No, they very badly degraded the air defense network. It's also worth noting that the one exception to the so far almost exclusively air and missile exchanges is actually that Israel did mount some very successful special forces and intelligence operations against Iranian air defenses on the first night with teams inside Iran. So there has been some special forces activity, but of course the primary ground-based clash that we might have expected previously from such a conflict between Israel and Iran would have been via proxies from Lebanon, specifically Hezbollah, as well as Gaza. And of course, the context of the past year and a half means that Iran is in a far weaker position than it has been for decades in that regard.
Crazy that there have been so many different examples recently of Mossad penetrating deep into Iran and Tehran to the point where they had a drone factory. I wonder where this is. Mossad drone factory, Tehran. Iran claims it exposed building in Tehran used by Israeli agents for drone manufacturing. Yeah, this is crazy, chat. This is fucking crazy. So, like, 2 people were arrested for spying for Mossad. There was a drone manufacturing site used by Israeli agents in Tehran, and it is just wild that they managed to get so deep into Tehran. 200 kilograms, 440 pounds of explosives in a 3-story building that was used by Israeli agents to assemble and store UAVs. That's been the most sort of effective thing I've seen from the Zionist entity in terms of attacking Iran at this point. Chat, these people walk amongst us, you know? The Mossad are like getting around just in our countries, wherever Israel has allies. Mossad is just like chilling, you know? So important to remember that. It is the most disgusting Zionist entity of all time. Well, I say of all time. It's the most disgusting state of all time. It's the most disgusting project in the world. But anyway, where were we up to there?
All right, we'll examine too the
Israeli air is pretty much running bingo fuel to get that far. So engaging them in a dogfight is a good way to get them out of the fight, so to speak. Yeah, no, well, that's the thing, right? If Israel is sending planes over there, it's a long distance. Iran have got far more, time to play in the air. That's a really good point.
Of surprise that Israel managed to spring.
It'd be really easy for the West to just cut Israel loose at this point rather than throw them or ourselves into another brutal and pointless war no one actually wants. I mean, the thing to remember, is that unfortunately it's already started. The UK, Keir Starmer, has already sent support to Israel. Same with France, I think. Germany, without a shadow of a doubt, Germany will be sending a bunch of weapons over there. And it is literally I don't know, man. It's just fucked. Like, genuinely, I do think that this is going to be another Iraq war situation. I don't think any other state with a nuclear weapon will get involved, and that's just because, that's the way that the rules of engagement seem to be at the moment on the playing field of war. In geopolitics, if a state with nuclear weapons attacks a state with no nuclear weapons, the only thing that you're really going to see is various different states funding the state trying to defend itself, which we are seeing with China. China and Russia are both supporting Iran with supplies and munitions and what have you, but yeah, it's that's the playing field that we're at the minute, and to be honest, you can only really hope that Iran stands up for itself in the same way that Ukraine has stood up for itself. I don't know if you could make a case for Russia being as armed or funded or able to do things as Israel is. I'm not sure. Yeah, Russia gets its drones from Iran. Yeah, this is the thing. Iran has got its own manufacturing in its own borders as well. This is another thing to remember.
Arsenal of missiles, and how long can it last?
Well, it depends on what these missiles are used for. As we have seen with a previous strike, the missiles, so the amount of missiles that Iran launched was less than before. However, they managed to be more accurate. And so what we have to understand here is that Iran has been working on upgrading their missiles in terms of maneuverability, in terms of guidance, and some new satellite guidance. So they are much more precise, and they also use a different propellant, switching from liquid fuel to solid fuel propellant, which essentially means that you can launch them much faster. And so we have, of course, the missile capabilities, and I think another capability worth mentioning is the drone capability. And we have seen the Shahed 136 drones being used in Ukraine since summer 2022. And this is something that can be used effectively. And as the Israeli intelligence, as Justin just mentioned, has shown indeed an operation reminiscent of what the Ukrainian SBU did in Russia just a few weeks ago, is the use of drones from the Iranian territory in order to incapacitate air defense systems or launch batteries. And so we have...
I don't think you could compare it to that. I think that's a bit fucking stupid. I know this person is like defense expert, etc., but like, again, you got to remember these people are going to have their own politics. They're going to have their own biases. They're going to have their own shit in terms of like what they think about things and what have you. I just don't know if you can like say that Israel having the Mossad make like drones in a building and then use drones to incapacitate air defense systems, which like I'm not sure they actually did. I'm pretty sure that like there were reports of this happening and then it not working to the degree that Israel wanted it to. Anyway, who knows? Hey Magic Mia, how you doing? Good to see you. Russia also has their own things going on. The only non-Western country with the ability to meaningfully support Iran is China. China is quite ardent in their neutrality. I don't see Israel getting meaningfully stopped unless something in the West changes. Yeah, absolutely, Mia. Like, again, we can't rely on the state to do these things. You know, we have to do everything that we can to prevent the imperialist agendas of our, you know, of the states that we live in. We have to do everything we can to prevent them from being enacted. You know, get involved with direct action. Don't break the law. I would never advise anyone to break the law, but there are groups who, you know, will inevitably end up breaking the law to stop this kind of thing from happening. There are already groups who break the law to do that, and it's only gonna increase as more and more people see. We live in like an interesting time, especially in the UK, where we have Palestine action and they're quite popular in terms of, if you ask most people who are on the left in some way, or maybe not even on the left, but if they support Palestine, you would say, do you know Palestine action? And they would say yes. And that's wild, because something like that did not, to my knowledge anyway, exist during the Iraq War in 2003. And I can imagine if people really didn't want the Iraq War to happen in the same way they don't want the Palestinian genocide to happen, then things might have been different. So interesting to sort of consider that. Who knows how it's going to change? I don't know. What else do I miss in the chat? To have Iran be that infiltrated and not the DPRK, you got to look how they managed 70 years strong. The West is patient. I'm afraid they're succeeding in axing the resistance at the minute. I don't think there's any way they're going to get to China in a million years. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't even think they're going to get to Russia. I think that the way things stand, capitalism will collapse. Capitalism is collapsing. That's why we're seeing these escalations. You know, it's that cycle. You know, recession, everything going up in price. You know, war just happens, etc., etc. It's this cycle of things happening, right? Or in whichever order. And it can only continue to keep doing that. Capitalism can only profit off war, can only maintain itself through imperialism, and it'll just keep trying to do that to the point where, the ability to keep doing it will just end, or there'll be World War III and there'll be a nuke and loads of people will die. Maybe billions of people will die. I don't know. But I think that in terms of the way that the things have been going, I think that China's pretty solid. I know Iranians personally. I didn't know Iraqis at the time, though I was 13. So as much as I'm not representative as a whole, I'm pretty generic. So that might indicate a couple of mindsets out there, yeah. Iran may get weakened, but they can't fully destroy their military capabilities without a full-blown invasion, which isn't happening. It could happen. We don't know. It'll probably happen if the US gets involved, I imagine. Russia and China are rival military powers. It'd be the same Cold War dynamic with smaller nations getting their hot wars. I I thought that Russia and China had an agreement. I thought they were part of the BRICS coalition. I thought they had pretty good relations. I didn't know that. Are you sure that's the case? I don't know. The only thing I've seen from Canada is an urge for de-escalation. That's about it. Well, this is the interesting thing. Lots of imperial core states are like, it's time to de-escalate. Both sides need to de-escalate. And it's like, you should have thought about that before you armed this rogue state. Oh, Russia and China rival the military powers. It's the same Cold War dynamic with smaller nations getting their hot wars. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, Alejandro. But I think that capitalism will collapse before then. It's already starting to happen. There's only so much that you can maintain imperialist agendas when your population is revolting against you, and if you murder your entire population, you have no workers, you have no people to do your manufacturing of weapons. This is why unions are the start of a revolution, because that's when workers can come together and be like, yeah, nah, it ain't happening, dog. Carney was better than every alternative, but this is what I was afraid of. Yeah. Okay, let's carry on.
That component, which can prove crucial, essentially, if you look at Israeli air defenses, and again, this is not specific to Israel, Iran will use decoy missiles in order to either suppress the air defenses or evade them, or they will use drones. And there are some decoy Shaheeds, which have been also used in Ukraine, in order to overload the air defense systems, enabling missiles with real warheads to penetrate and to reach their target. And this is the capabilities that Iran has. And we also have to remember that Iran will be relying on partners, on international partners such as Russia, with whom Iran has signed a strategic partnership. Kim Jong-un said we could give nuclear weapons to Iran. So, of course, these are words in the information sphere.
What?
Strategic partnership. Kim Jong-un said we could give nuclear weapons to Iran. So, of course...
No way! Is that real? Chat, is this real?
These are words.
Chat, if North Korea gives nuclear weapons to Iran, that would be so insane.
In the information sphere. But maybe it should give us a pause to think that Iran might not be alone in terms of when it comes to support from outside, especially when...
It's going to be the Iranian missile crisis, isn't it? Holy shit.
On the brink of
holy shit.
An all-out war.
Mamoun, it's certainly true to say, isn't it, that people talk about Israel's defense systems, the Iron Dome, David Sling, Arrow 3, plus the Patriot missiles and THAAD and so forth. It may be one of the best in the world, but what if they begin to run out of interceptors as this barrage of drones and missiles comes across? How serious will that be for Israel and its defense?
That's very serious indeed. Of course, Israel get air dominance over Syria, Iraq, down to Iran, but this is the first time in history you have air supremacy over...
I don't know about that, chat.
Territory, and this...
I don't know about that claim. North Korea... Fears of North Korean axis with China, Russia, and Iran are overstated. Oh. Isn't this One News, NK News? Isn't this like an anti-regime outlet? I think that this... We saw that suggested search, Kim Jong-un lube factory? Wait, what? Kim Jong-un... What? Lube factory? What? He's just been to a lube factory. Kim Jong-un amused by lubricant at North Korea factory. Yeah, nice. He loves that shit. What a legend. What an absolute legend. What is this? NK News? Anyone familiar with this? Is this like an anti-regime thing? Because if they're saying that it's overstated, the axis, China, Russia, and Iran, this was today. Swedish think tank says Trump facility could push states together, estimating DPRK has 50 nuclear warheads. Yeah, it's not going to be North Korea state media, is it? Ain't no way that we're going to have access to that out here. I don't think there's any evidence of Kim Jong-un saying this recently that I can find, chat. If anyone sees anything, just let me know. Drop me a link in the chat.
Still these missiles coming out and etc. And these missiles are Iranian missiles.
They don't really have nukes, but they might. Yeah. I mean, that's what they're saying. That's what they've been saying all along, right?
They create panic. They destroy buildings.
They could have nukes. They've nearly developed nukes. North Korea are going to send them nukes, more stuff. Yeah.
Paralyzes, right? If the other proxy use a massive, big number of missiles as a barrage, Hezbollah still.
They're seeing a pledge of military support, maybe extrapolating from that.
Imagine if.
Could you give me that link?
With these Iranian
PM, I'll give you a permit. Hold up.
This missile is very hard to hit them down, to intercept them. But at the same time, they reach their target and they get some sort of accuracy. So they are very dangerous.
What is going on here, man?
Down to intercept them. But at the same time, they reach their target.
It's very difficult to intercept them, but at the same time they reach their target. Is he just like struggling with his English? A very thin source. What is this, the Zambian Observer? North Korea pledged to provide military support to Iran amid looming war with Israel. North Korea is reportedly pledged by North Korea president earlier expressed solidarity with Iran against Israel. Historically, North Korea is one of the countries collaborated with Iran. They mostly collaborated on missile technology, and recently it was noted that North Korea hasn't backed down on their relationship with Iran. Just hours ago, Israel conducted a series of airstrikes. Reports indicate highly precise Israeli missile target the home of Iranian commander. Yeah, that's right. All right, so this was on the 14th. Yeah, it's a little thin on the ground in terms of. I mean, this is not like we know this, right? We know that this happens. Is it pre-war? June 14th? I thought it was the 13th that they got attacked. It's reporting the war. I think it's just post the first strikes. But like, I think that we could safely say that North Korea has been given Iran military support for a long time. They have. Oh, the announcement is pre-war. Right. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. You know, we knew this. We knew that they said this before.
Some sort of accuracy.
You know, North Korean rifles have been seen in the hands of like Al-Qassam brigades and Sarai al-Quds.
So they are very dangerous in a way. And I don't see Israel is really achieving it.
Could have had nukes years ago, yeah.
In conducting such a war. They did not have, regime change or destroy the Iran nuclear program. So what's happening here? We are sort of escalating inclusive conflict, and it might lead to a war of attrition. And I think this would be in favor to Iran in this case.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Justin Bronk, do you agree with that Israel's unlikely to achieve its objectives in the way this war has been carried out?
He didn't say that. He said that Israel hasn't achieved its objectives. I mean, maybe he's just like taking the question and saying it again. But that's the fact. Like, they didn't stop any nuclear development programs. I have been seeing reports that there have been, maybe potentially leaks at certain nuclear facilities, but they test all of their stuff under the ground nowadays, from what I know. If there's going to be a weapon, if there's going to be a nuclear weapon developed, they're going to test it. It's going to be underground, you know? How dare North Korea meddle in another country's internal politics? Who do they think they are? Israel, right? Exactly. Russia still has the largest nuclear arsenal, if I remember correctly, most of it from the USSR, I believe. It would be fucking so funny if Russia was like, you know what? You gave us so many... You gave us so many Shahed hypersonic missiles to use in Ukraine. Here, have a nuke, Iran. Have a nuke, Khomeini. Use it wisely, dog. Shoot to kill. Shoot to kill. Israel never interferes. How dare? How dare? Yeah, it's crazy.
I think that depends whether you are talking about the Israeli objective of, stated objective of destroying Iran's nuclear program, in which case the answer probably depends on fundamentally whether they can convince the United States to undertake a limited strike with the GBU-57, so a particularly large penetrating weapon against the buried fuel enrichment plant at Fordo. It's the most significant enrichment plant that the Iranians have, and it's the one that the Israelis do not have weaponry that can penetrate. So their ability to destroy the primary components of Iran's nuclear program probably depends on whether they can get the US to undertake that strike as a limited thing.
And if the US did, can I just jump in there on that point? If the US did the bunker busting bomb that the US would have to provide, could that reach the site of the operation, the nuclear operations that Iran is conducting there?
Yes, the GBU-57 was the massive ordnance penetrator, as it's sometimes called, was specifically developed with the Fordo facility in mind as its primary target set. At the depth that the facility is thought to be, 80 to 90 meters or even more, you would probably require multiple weapons impacting in succession to essentially burrow down. But yes, the US could do it, but Israel does not have...
NATO already gives non-nuclear countries access to nuclear sharing, so why not do the same thing? Yeah.
Production sites in terms of fuel, enrichment, and other materials have already been hit by the Israelis, and some buried facilities, such as those at Natanz, are thought to be at a significantly lesser depth, where things like the Israeli possessed GBU-28, for example, which is a 5,000-pound bunker buster, should be able to penetrate, particularly with multiple impacts. But yeah, it depends. If the Israelis are going after the nuclear program, they can probably push it back a significant degree with another...
I'm not being funny, chat, but there is no worst person in Britain. You can have all the Nigel Farages, you can have all of the psycho-fascist UKIP sickos, you can have all those kinds of people, all the TERFs and anything. One of the worst people that you can have in Britain, the worst British guy is like this guy. Ex-defense fucking sicko. He's got pictures, like drawings of Britannia, Lady Britannia, which was like the mascot of the British Empire in the background. Like, he's got British Empire propaganda here, and like a photo that's probably like a bunch of war criminals and Churchill and shit in the back here. I've only just noticed that. This guy is one of the... This is what is stopping Britain. This is what is stopping Britain from being great. Anglophile sicko, Brit pilled. Fascist aesthetic of this guy's off the charts. This guy has definitely been involved in pogroms.
Number of dependencies.
He's definitely committed pogroms against migrants.
Rich material it already has, and whether the Israelis can find it.
Great Britain.
If you're talking about regime change, I think there's far more unknowns there, and that's something that Air Power alone has a very poor record of.
He's probably somehow racist towards the Welsh. You would be surprised. There are definitely people like that. There are definitely people who are racist towards the Welsh, the Scottish, the Cornish, the Irish. You know.
You think, and isn't it true to say that if the Israelis keep up this momentum,
I maintain the worst guy you could have in the UK is Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew's the same as this guy. Is the same as this guy. 1,000%. This guy's, well, you know, I don't want to get in trouble, but I swear to God, he's the same, absolutely the same. Any kind of like King Charles, same shit. He's got all that British Empire stuff in Buckingham Palace. This guy probably knows Prince Andrew, probably knocks around with him, probably knocks around with King Charles.
If they can do that, the Iranians are going to find it hard.
Oh, listen, there are like people in deep sort of like home counties UK who are like super prejudiced towards northerners, so like they hate Cornish people, they hate northerners, they hate Brummies, you know. Bringing up Prince Andrew reminded me of the Prince Andrew rap. Yeah, we'll listen to that in a minute.
And harder to defend themselves.
We'll listen to that.
Let alone respond.
Uniquely British thing, yeah.
What we're seeing here is essentially the classical air power theory, John Warden's rings. So what the Israel
for real, hating anyone too far out of London, yeah, absolutely. But then also simultaneously hating London and thinking it's like a Sodom and Gomorrah, but you know they hate Sodom and Gomorrah and shit like that, you know.
They're trying to neutralize potential launch sites, Iranian air defenses, as well as so-called.
Hey DJ, how are you doing? Good to see you.
The brains, scientists, military leadership. And from the Israeli point,
Prince Andrew's high school had to change its name because of what you know about him.
First, Hezbollah had to be weakened, if not completely dismantled to such a state that it wouldn't pose any threat to Israel. Then Israel tried to gain.
That's why we also make fun of Southerners. What else do we have? We don't have government funding.
Control of the Golan Heights of the and parts of Syrian territory in order to have.
It's true.
To maneuver.
It's very true.
The regime change in Syria was also a beneficial factor for Israel because a lot of transit was going through Syria.
That is why it happened. That is literally why they toppled Assad.
And so the Islamic Revolution.
You know, two things could be true, and I get so frustrated with Western leftists sometimes. It's like, yes, it can be good for the people of Syria that Assad is no longer, reigning over Syria. It's also bad because now the guy who is reigning over Syria as a US puppet state is someone who literally beheaded people. Was literally in ISIS and has beheaded people. And Trump saw the guy, and the first thing he said to him was, look at this handsome guy. Look at this beautiful, handsome guy. Like, what is happening, bro?
Guard Corps.
What is happening?
Through Syria, supplying Hezbollah and also Hamas with weaponry. So that was a very important logistical supply route. And so now Israel believes, at least, that by calling out to Iranian people, don't be oppressed. You have this
winding them up, referring to the North as the Midlands, yeah. Based Scottish moment.
To not listen to the regime and to stand.
Israel still attacks Syria, literally.
The problem is that it can go both ways because if you have internal.
Someone said they were having democratic elections. Yeah, it's really good when people just lie.
In times of war, usually this is what unites people, even if they have differences. And I think there is a lot of pressure within Iran to see a very severe response from the Iranian side to Israel. On the one hand. On the other hand, even if such regime change, which has been actually admitted by Israel openly that it is one of the goals, did take place, is this going to be the return of the son of the fledged Shah from the Shah from 79, Ali Reza?
Oh my God.
Is it going to be some hardliner? And the problem...
Do you remember a couple of weeks ago, chat, when we were looking at the Zionist rally in London or somewhere, or Sussex or something, and their numbers were being bolstered by Shah restorationists? And I explained to you all, and a lot of you probably already know this, the Shah restorationists are some of the most cooked Iranian political ideologists of all time. They're like, yeah, the Shah, who was this puppet who was literally installed by the West, who did multiple crimes against humanity, completely repressed people. The Islamic revolution was more progressive than the Shah. You know? It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. I cannot believe, and that's why they support them. That's why they support them, because Israel is constantly like, regime change, regime change, regime change, and they're going to say all this stuff now, and people have already started saying it. They've already started saying Iran doesn't let women not wear their hijabs and stuff, which is not true for like the most part anymore. It was definitely a problem over the last 2 years, but those kinds of morality police actions have changed. There've been like slight reforms. It's certainly not perfect, but again, it's like, it's the same thing as saying like Palestinians will kill you if you're gay, and it's like you just cannot seriously like take seriously what they're saying. You just can't. Hey Pitsy, how you doing? In fairness, the Iranian expat community is one of the few out there that isn't nearly as nuts, and I suspect it's because of the Mossadegh supporters who arrived first. Yeah, no, for real. Like it's one of them. It's like the majority of Iranian migrants that I've met who live in the UK now are based, they're communists, they're socialists, they're whatever, you know, they're left wing in many ways. You know, one of my good friends I had on the show, you know, on Red Planet, you know, we spoke about, you know, a bunch of stuff in terms of, you know, the woman life freedom movement, the Masa Amini movement, and all that kind of stuff. You know, that's absolutely valid. You know, criticisms to have of you know, Iranian society, but you can't just say this stuff while Israel is like murdering children in Iran. You can't just be like, and it's exactly what's that guy, the ex-prime minister, the ex-president, Naftali Bennett? It's exactly what he said. As soon as the war started, he was like, all over Twitter, Iranian people, now is the time. Rise up and take out Khamenei. It's time to fucking get rid of this evil dictator. And it's just insane. Like, they're so desperate for regime change because they know if they get rid of Khamenei, it will be difficult. There'll be a push for different factions to engage in the leadership contest, and while a war is happening, it would be very difficult. I think Iran is also trying to locate Netanyahu to try and do the same thing, because if they did manage to assassinate Netanyahu, it would probably cause Israel to crumble. I don't know if you've seen the way those people speak to each other in the Knesset, but
problem here is we don't know all the
important things to consider.
Certainly, Mossad has an intelligence network.
Even if everything they said about Iran was true, I still wouldn't want the West to do a regime change. Yes, same.
Masses to a certain degree, but other intelligence services do as well. So we have to also consider that unknown component in terms of how much influence they have to influence the situation on the ground, and how much others will interfere. And by others, I name
same with Putin. It's not enough for the US.
Korea, the Iraq countries.
They want a regime change in Russia as well.
Want to ensure
they want regime change everywhere.
That the
you know, again, I'll never forget. I had this conversation with a chatter, and you know, it wasn't like a dickhead chatter. It wasn't like a racist or reactionary or whatever. But I had to explain to a chatter a while ago. They were like, "Why do you think Cuba is okay as a country? They don't have free press." And I was like, "You have to understand the imperialist, capitalist nations of the world are so desperate all the time to infiltrate these countries to try and make a regime change happen. They have to be so controlling of their propaganda, of who exists and who moves around. You know, they have to have intelligence, and they have to have social cohesion. Social cohesion is so necessary to countries that exist in defiance of US imperialist hegemony. Yeah, everywhere they don't have a puppet,
Or at least if something happens, that it's not some pro-Western government, but it's some pro-Russian or pro-Chinese government that will be ruling Iran. So it's a difficult situation. And one last point quickly, I think even if Iran doesn't have nuclear capabilities, pushing Iran this far can actually accelerate its efforts at developing nuclear capabilities. So it can go into either direction, because
I think that this is the best thing that she's said so far. Yeah. I think this is the most accurate thing that she's said. You know,
there will be a strategic effect from military action that Israel is undertaking, but whether it will be the desired one is a good question.
Then that's a potential tragic irony in all of this.
Hey, Oxpecker, how you doing? Welcome in. If you constantly,
actually end up force.
If you constantly talk about Hamas and Islamic attacks, you can normalize bombing Iran and Iraq. You mean like if Israel does that?
Forcing Iran to get a bomb, and they probably could organize a dirty bomb pretty sharply.
Absolutely.
Iran will have one before the end of the year. That's what I'm thinking as well, yeah. Yeah, if they weren't making nukes before, they definitely are right now, yeah. Well, there was a reported 2.5 Richter scale earthquake somewhere in the middle of Iran, reported last night. And if they are developing a nuclear weapon, they're absolutely going to be testing it underground. And it is likely that if they try to test a nuclear weapon underground, it would have registered that kind of degree on the Richter scale. Possible. They could even be doing it as we speak.
Probably in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, or they are enriching now the Fordo. So it's very difficult to guess. But what I see is Iran is losing this war. They are unable, or they cannot really, they don't have the potential or the ordinance to hit this nuclear program. It's very hard. They're 150 meters inside mountains. Cement is like 15.
He said Iran, he meant Israel.
Meter also. It's very hard. The only way they can do this is by using the American to interfere. And I don't think Trump will do that. Because
I don't know about this, man. I think Trump will. I think he will.
This trillion which he got from the Gulf area. Also, the Gulf country would not allow America, because they need him if you want to conduct a war in the Gulf area. America cannot do or go to war alone. So she needs that. Still.
Could we please, by the way, drop the dirty bomb idea, saying it on news network should activate an ejector seat out of the roof of the building? Yeah.
Bab el-Mandeb, Khalij Oman, all these.
You think he'll need to be convinced his ego needs stroking? No. They were planning this from day one. Netanyahu even admitted it. They have coordinated this. They knew that this was going to happen. The US does not want Iran to have a nuclear deal. I'm not saying that the US will win a war in Iran. I'm not saying that US involvement will change anything. They'll probably drag the UK and France and Germany into the war as well. I don't know about Canada. Canada's doing some mad stuff at the moment in terms of opposing the US, which is crazy. They want oil monopoly dominance in the region. And I think that this was the plan all along. Trump is going to make it look like he was trying hard to cut a deal with them. And, they are struggling. It's not easy. Iran is a crazy state. They don't know what they're doing. They're breaking promises. They're breaking deals. Making it look like that, and that is manufacturing consent. It's all part of the manufacturing consent machine, where they are basically just saying, yeah, we tried so hard to convince this rogue state, this crazy state full of crazy Muslims, to actually not have a nuclear weapon, but they wouldn't listen, and that's why Israel bombed them, because they were being belligerent to Israel. It's been planned. This they don't want any kind of Iran having nuclear weapons, and they'll do anything to stop it from happening.
I think, and Israel is failing to achieve its objective, and I think Trump will interfere and we'll see an end to this conflict. I don't know what's happening, because this is shaking.
And again, you have to remember, folks, Trump could at any point at all, he could say stop, and this would stop. If he wanted this to stop, it would stop. He doesn't want it to stop. He wants to see how much damage Israel can do, effectively using Israel as cannon fodder. I don't know if Israel knows that that's what's going on or knows its role in the imperial hegemony, but we'll see.
Up the stability in the region and the security of the world also.
Okay.
These are very...
Justin, thanks for that, Mamoon. Justin, there's another thing here, isn't there? Because this is, I think, the first time that nuclear targets have been targeted.
Oh, this guy again. Oh, while this guy talks, chat, I'm going to go to the toilet. Just be right back.
And no one in power around the world seems to be overly concerned about that, are they?
Well, so the type of facilities that are being struck have been struck before, so particularly by Israel, in fact. So Israel has previously struck and destroyed nuclear reactors, which were thought to be part of weapons programs in Iraq and in Syria. And the radiological release risks, unless you're cracking open an active nuclear reactor, which, as far as I understand, is not something they've been trying to do at the moment. Rather, they've been destroying the support systems and other things within those sites above ground. Then, so far, the risk of radiological release appears to be relatively low. And of course, highly enriched uranium is not particularly radioactive. It's and also quite difficult to disperse, actually, in the sense that it's a very dense, very heavy metal. It doesn't disperse very well. It's very unlike the sort of radiological materials you would use for a dirty bomb, which would be aiming to spread radioactive contamination, things like cobalt isotopes. So in this case, I think that's probably why there's less concern directly there. I think the concern will be whether, firstly, this acts as a prompt to push Iran towards even more intensive efforts to complete weaponization, to build a nuclear weapon, whenever there's some sort of ceasefire. And secondly,
what did he say?
The conflict escalates beyond the current sort of exchanges towards, for example, targeting of the...
I'm so curious about what conversations are going on between everyone in charge of developing a nuclear weapon over there right now. I'll tell you what the conversations are. They're like, we are doing this now. They're not speaking. There are no conversations. The conversations are, how long is it going to take before we get one? That's going to be it. And then it's going to be the whatever the answer is. it's just going to be that. That's the only conversations that they're going to be having, I promise you. Canada is very much let's do something halfway based, then spit on indigenous rights in the span of 2 days. Very wishy-washy weirdness right now. Yeah, I'm not surprised. How mad do you think they'll get if they find out Trump wants them to take the dip with a ground invasion first? That would be so funny. That would be fucking well funny. But the left keeps making the mistake of expecting the empire to care. Everything is happening because it strategically serves the West. Israel is an imperial colony. The propaganda at this point is pretending there is any nuance to politics. Aside the empire responding to what it perceives as a geopolitical rival. Yeah, that's how we have to see things. That's why we have to be internationalists. That's why we have to, assess geopolitics in the best way that we can. It's why we have to educate each other that that's what's happening over the world on the face of things. And then that's why we have to encourage each other to organize, because the only way that we will get our states to stop participating in this stuff is to organize and take power away from the state and look after ourselves, create our own social safety nets, refuse to participate in imperialist programs, refuse to participate in weapons manufacturing, through union action, through essentially coming together and organizing. That's why we absolutely must do that. It's imperative. So let's carry on. Before I carry on, though, I am going to say I've been live for almost 2 hours, and I haven't even mentioned that it is very important that I get money to live and survive. Please consider subbing off Twitch using the PayPal link here in the chat. It's right there. Also, please consider becoming a patron. You can subscribe at 3 or 4 different tiers. Yeah, it's 4 from as little as £2 a month. Go ahead and check that out. Please consider supporting me. If you can't afford to support me financially, please consider liking, comment, and reposting on these posts to help me get more eyes on the stream. Also, what you can do is go to my socials. Thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate that. What you can also do is go to my socials and check out all the links, all the different socials that I got, and support me on those as well. I got a bunch of YouTube videos that you can go and watch. How familiar are you with American pharmaceutical adverts? I've seen a few of them, yeah. Yeah, they're fucking nuts.
Iranian oil and gas.
Why do you ask?
Which would have the result of huge ecological damage, but also potentially closing shipping lanes and all sorts, which would have huge economic consequences beyond the oil shocks that we've already seen. So I think that's where a lot of the primary concerns would lie at the moment in terms of escalation. I would just say also in terms of where things look if this continues to run, the one thing to consider is that the Iranian ballistic missile arsenal, once it's gone, it's gone. They've been producing this stockpile for well over a decade, and the monthly production rates are lower than they were.
Send it to me. We'll have it as a palate cleanser.
Rocket fueling plants and other.
Do you want to put it in the chat or?
Facilities, both in October.
Can you find it?
And now in these strikes. So whereas the Israeli air campaign can essentially continue nearly indefinitely, albeit probably at a lower intensity if they want to really sustain it from an availability of tankers and other things point of view. Ultimately, the weapons they're now using are free-fall bombs, JDAM, Pavoy series bombs. They're fairly easy to resupply. Israel produces its own and gets them from the United States, whereas
Justin,
the Iranian arsenal, as it depletes, will go.
I'm going to jump in there because we're literally running out of time. We've got about a minute left. And Marina, I just want to end with you. So just taking on what Justin was saying there, that in terms of what weaponry they have and the targets they could yet go for, the Iranians, there's still possibilities for them.
Well, of course. I mean, we also still have American presence in the Middle East. That was named as one of the targets by Iran. Iran could close the Strait of Hormuz. We still have the Houthis in Yemen. That problem has not disappeared. So there are many.
I can't stand it when people refer to the Houthis as a problem. Yeah, a problem for empire. A problem for the empire.
Ways that this conflict, this war could take shape, even if it's not officially declared as war. And of course, Iran doesn't have the same capacity to reproduce its stockpile of 3,000 or what missiles. The problem here is
it has a capacity to build 50 missiles a month at this point.
It might be resupplied. Or that would be a problem for Israel, because we shouldn't assume that Iran is isolated, because that same logic was being applied
hey, Joe, what's
Russia
up?
At the beginning of the war in Ukraine, that Russia is isolated and is running out of missiles. And I think we should not...
Also, don't be a racist. They're called Ansar Allah.
Indeed. Yeah. We need a lot more time, but we don't have it, unfortunately. Thank you to all of you, to Mamoun Abunawa, to Marina Miron, and to Justin Bronk. Thanks very much indeed. And thank you for watching.
Right, well, there is the coverage from Al Jazeera. And we are going to take a look here at some Sky News stuff. So get ready to get mad. Let's have a little look here. Flawed data on grooming gangs. Oh, my God. Oh my God! Flawed data used repeatedly to dismiss claims about Asian grooming gangs. Well, I'm looking for Iran-Israel coverage, to be honest. So let's focus on that. We'll check out this fucking brain rot coming up later, probably. What military strategies are Iran and Israel using? Preemptive war of defense 8 hours ago. God, this fucking grooming gang shit is just so tired. So tired. Is Trump about to take America into a new war? Is it just these two guys talking? Trump 100? What is Trump 100? Trump 100 extended? This could be good. Iranian ambassador to UK reacts to Israeli strikes on Iran. Let's check this out. Yeah, let's take a look.
In 4 days of strikes, Israel has hit targets across the breadth of Iran. Two of the major military priorities for Israel: air supremacy, destroying weapon systems.
Trump 100, the smelly gaff. What's going on, Al?
Degrading Iran's ability to fire missiles back at Israel. Some of the latest satellite images we've got show how Israel has been attacking missile sites. In the western city of Kermanshah, damage can be seen to a known missile base, with storage buildings and tunnels clearly struck and destroyed. Israel's military claims it's destroyed a...
What are you on about? I'm not seeing anything clear in that image whatsoever.
Kermanshah, damage...
Look at this aerial shot that shows maybe something.
Can be seen to a known missile base with storage buildings and tunnels.
I mean, it could be anything. I don't. These could be destroyed buildings. I don't know.
Israel's military claims it's destroyed a...
That one certainly looks a bit fucked. Maybe this one. I don't know.
...third of Iran's surface-to-surface missile launches now. Near Shiraz, huge amounts...
It could be a truck stop!
...on the satellite images at an important missile site and an electronics production facility, thought to have been involved in developing radar systems and missile parts.
Did you see a good response to Sky Journal by an academic in Tehran? Yeah, we already watched that.
...are at Natanz and Fordo. Iran has threatened to leave the nuclear non-proliferation treaty if the Israeli attacks continue. Take a closer look firstly at Natanz.
It's already happened, dude. Are you joking me? They've already done that. They have already done that.
Is a big site.
There is no way. They literally said, we are not going to continue in negotiations anymore. Do you think after Israel has assassinated literally the person who was heading the negotiation talks, do you think for a second that Khamenei is sat there going like, yeah, I think we should still honor the non-proliferation treaty? What are you talking about, man?
Uranium. There are signs of damage to several buildings, including electrical substations and a fuel enrichment building. But Fordo may be the key and the toughest nuts.
We covered it briefly on Red Planet, Johnny, yeah.
...are dug deep underground.
I'm sure we'll check out the Ballymena stuff at some point this week, depending on what kind of developments this has. The Ballymena stuff is fucked. I mean, my take on it is...
...so far.
Is that it's fucked. It's racist pogrom shit, you know?
...weighing several tons to breach the site, but is President Trump willing to use them to finish off Iran's nuclear program if that's what's required? Israel also clearly has extraordinary intelligence, pinpointing the location of key members of Iran's regime. After eliminating 20 top figures on the first night of strikes, they've continued to pick off targets.
Bro, it was not 20. What is happening?
Recently, intelligence...
It was like 9.
And his deputy and others on Sunday.
Show the 20. Show the 20. Show the 20 that you're talking about.
Have also been killed in attacks. Let's look now at what Iran's missiles and drones have hit in Israel. Their ballistic missile barrages have mostly focused on areas around the major cities of Tel Aviv and Haifa. They are densely populated areas, but with lots of nearby military targets too. At least one missile came close to hitting the Kiryat. That's Israel's...
What the hell did you just say?
Cities of Tel Aviv and Haifa. They are densely populated areas, but with lots of nearby military targets too.
Come on, man. Just say it. Just say it. Just say that Israel uses human shields. Just say it. Say it out loud. Don't be a coward. Don't be a journalist with integrity.
At least one missile came close to hitting the Kiryat. That's Israel's defense headquarters in the center of Tel Aviv on Friday.
I mean, it was hit. It was hit. God, the fucking propaganda is like so insane, man.
Tel Aviv's urban sprawl, including Petah Tikva and Bnei Brak on Sunday night. More than 20 civilians have been killed in Israel. In Haifa, Iranians have focused attacks at the area around the port close to a power plant and Israel's largest oil refinery.
Is he the third Miliband brother?
Energy infrastructure. One key question...
Next to a huge shopping mall, yeah.
Iranians depleted their stocks of drones and missiles. And can they now do anything to Israel, whose warplanes are now prowling their skies at...
What are you talking... What is this guy talking about?
Refinery. A strike on those targets would do considerable damage to Israel's energy infrastructure. One key question, how much have Iranians depleted their stocks of drones and missiles? And can they now do anything to Israel, whose war...
Bro, they have thousands of missiles. Are you insane? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What's with the lingering Netanyahu pick? They have to have that up there Otherwise, Bibi himself will come to this third Miliband brother's house personally and assault him. Sky News, IDF press release. This is literally just an IDF press release.
Planes are now prowling their skies at will, working through a long list of targets.
Bro, this is so bad. See, like, you know, the Al Jazeera coverage was it wasn't perfect, right? None of it's perfect. You know, they had the interview with these three people, you know, one of which was a fucking Anglophile psychopath. The other one was, you know, a military expert who has been covering stuff in Ukraine, I guess. I don't know. You know, it's one of them. It's crazy. Sure, give him a bacon sandwich, see how he handles it. Wait, what are you talking about? What?
Diplomatic efforts are underway to end this soon, but Israel currently shows little sign of stopping.
What the fuck are you on about, Johnny?
Fourth day of these strikes. What
Who's this?
the patterns of what we're now seeing tell us?
Yeah, it's quite a different pattern, actually, Jane, in the respect that the Israelis are very methodical.
Oh, Michael Clark.
And it's not just an air
I've heard this guy before.
Strategy from them. They used a lot of their intelligence people who were inside Iraq.
Oh, the fucking Ed Miliband bacon butty on camera. Yeah. No, to be fair, I thought he was talking about the Netanyahu pick, and I was like, what are you on about?
For targeting.
No, you're right, dude. You're right.
Yeah, they
give him a fucking bacon butty.
A series of commanders. They took down a lot of
any sandwich. I mean, to be fair, that like. That whole thing, let's find it. This is crazy, dude. Like these pictures that were like, no, you're right. No, it's this. This is what you're talking about. This is what he's talking about. These images. How do I get like good actual? Here we go. Like, the press took like a picture. The press took a picture of Ed Miliband eating a sandwich and then like put it everywhere. And we're just like, look, he's eating a bacon sandwich. This is the Labour leader. He's unelectable. How does that have its own Wikipedia page? Wait, what? You are wait. Ed Miliband bacon sandwich. Nah. Yeah, so when they get these ancient white British army vets to talk about what they would do in these scenarios, yeah. Do you know what I do, mate? Just fucking nuke Iran. I can't wait to see burning flesh again. Oh, it was such a good time in the Falklands. Let's read the Ed Miliband bacon sandwich photograph Wikipedia page. A photograph of Ed Miliband, the leader of the Labour Party in the United Kingdom, eating a bacon sandwich became a source of sustained commentary and the subject of an internet meme in 2014-2015. Taken for the London Evening Standard while Miliband was campaigning in the 2014 local elections, the image became well known for making the popular perception of it as making Miliband appear awkward, error-prone, and incapable of performing simple tasks. Hey B-Rat, how you doing? 2014. I just can't. It's just crazy. It's just so crazy. Oh, I'm always microwaving tea half a laptop. I always microwave tea. And Wobbegong always takes the piss out of me for doing it. That's not true. But Wobbegong and his sister are definitely tea supremacists. Tea purists. And I'm always getting clowned on for the way that I have my tea. If you can be taken down by a bacon sandwich, then you deserve to be taken down. It's just, you know, here's the thing, right? At the end of the day, it was just another example of a Labour leader who was like, let's maybe have some social safety nets for the population. Let's maybe have the NHS. Let's maybe have disabled people not die. And those are my basic milquetoast policies. And the UK media class was like, no! No! Everyone dead! And I fucking hate them. I fucking hate them. That's the only reason that this happened. This is, you know, they were like, what's that? You want to fund public services? Kill him! Kill him now! Step away from the Rustler's burger. Yeah, I did have a Rustler's burger the other week after a long night of drinking. Is it any wonder I've got a fatty liver? Right, okay. Let's have a look. Yeah, what if people's lives were nicer? Take the shot. Right, let's hear what this fucking dinosaur's got to say.
The sites that they wanted to. And the thing about using those intelligence assets.
Whoa.
Assassinated, took out a series of commanders. They took down a lot of the air defence sites, and then they bombed the sites that they wanted to.
At least get the Lidl Rustlers rip-off.
Is that when you've used them, you can't use them.
I try not to shop at Lidl because they consistently source stuff from Israel.
The second time.
So I try not to...
They go into action. They've been planning this for years. They work once. You won't get them to work.
But the Aldi one could be good.
And they're covering effect in what they've done. But they've done it.
To be fair, neither Lidl nor Aldi were open at 4 a.m. So I had to go to the Co-op. No, it wasn't the Co-op. Spa.
It's been very effective. And the bombing itself, I mean, it's a big country, Iran, and the sites that they're after are very specific. They want the nuclear sites, but also they want to damage Iran's military capabilities and the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. And
I love that they always get like a guy like this on when most people know this stuff. Like most people, if you went up to like a general, like just any Gen Z, any Gen Z person, even like a Gen Alpha young person, and went like, why do you think Israel is attacking Iran? And they would probably be like, well, you know, they're saying it's about nuclear weapons, but it's probably because Israel's a psycho state that wants to murder everyone. You know? And that would just be it. It's just like just get that kid on instead.
The nuclear sites they've gone for, in particular, are Natanz and
big country, innit? Huge country, that.
Natanz, they think.
Expert analysis.
The one they really want is the one just to the north, that Fordo, which is in the mountains. They probably can't do that on
this guy's never said these names before in his life.
They really want to go for. And the question is, they can damage the Iranian nuclear program to a high degree. Are they really trying to bring down the regime?
Yeah, that's what I said, Fraser. Yeah, that's why I don't shop there.
They're ambiguous as to whether that's definitely what they're going for, but that might turn out to be the effect of it. The Iranians, on the other hand, their options are pretty limited because their ability to strike back has been limited by the effectiveness of the first Israeli strikes. And they tried to throw 1,000 ballistic missiles and drones at Israel and only managed to just over 100.
What are you talking about? What are you on about? What are you on about? Oh, dude, come on. Bro, do you know what 1,000 ballistic missiles... There is no country in the world that could launch 1,000 ballistic missiles. What are you talking about? What are you fucking on about? That's the most insane thing anyone has ever said about this. They tried to launch 1,000 ballistic missiles and they only got 100 through. Bro, if they got 100 through, they would have devastated. They would have devastated Israel. Like, what are you talking about? They would have ended Israel in a moment. This is nonsense. Who is this man?
And even so, some of them got through. So, I mean, some of them have gone for Haifa, which is...
Again, he's going off the... He's also going off the drones thing. And it's like... I'm not saying that the Iranian military hasn't used drones at all over the last 4 or 5 days, but it is known to be IOF propaganda that they used drones, 100 drones, immediately after the first attack. That did not happen. That was only ever reported by the IOF, and it is far more likely that it was Iraqi resistance militias who used those drones, and possibly Yemen. Bro thought he was cooking, instead he's just cooked. This guy has huffed COVID particles from Nigel Farage's exhaust pipe of the plane that he crashed. And his brain has been completely destroyed by multiple COVID reinfections. He doesn't know where he is right now.
It's part of the...
he's just saying anything. He's literally just saying stuff.
Of Israel, a lot of trade, oil trade goes in and out of...
1,000 ballistic... I can't get over that. I can't get over that. Tried to fire 1,000 ballistic missiles and they couldn't because the shit, and Israel's so good and I love Israel, and yeah, please give me a job, Israel cats. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. They only did it to prevent Israel firing 1 million missiles. It's just like
the gas oil the gas fields in the Mediterranean, but also for civilian areas as well. So that the Iranians can't do anything in a sense other than just throw missiles at Israel and try to hurt Israel as much as possible. But unless they're going to widen the war, which would be very dangerous.
Oh my God, I cannot believe this guy is lauded as like an expert talking head on stuff like this. All Iran can do is throw missiles at Israel. Wow, dude. Incredible analysis, man.
Americans and British and others who are in the region.
He's just reading a teleprompter over the shoulder of this other person. Yeah, 1,000%.
It's really quite limited from a military point of view.
What about Israel's ability to shoot down these Iranian weapons? How is that working? I mean,
what do you think he's going to say, chat? This guy could say some complete nonsense. I reckon he's going to say something like, Israel's Iron Dome defense is the best in the world. It's the best kind in its world. No one's ever been able to penetrate it ever. No one ever hits anything. Iran tried to hit the IOF headquarters, but they didn't. We need like a bingo card for this shit. World Cup of Darts has finished. Who won?
What's the sort of impact of damage you've seen inside Israel?
Well, it's working as well as you might expect it.
Oh, you're doing a joke because he said throwing missiles. All Iran can do is throw missiles. World Cup of Darts finished, mate. There you go. Good one.
The dome system that everyone talks about has never been tested like this before, and it has actually it stops a lot of stuff getting through, a lot of drones and missiles, but eventually they start to run short of anti-aircraft ammunition. And the Israelis issued this series of images. They're sea-based, the Barak Magen system, which is very effective. The Barak systems, the 8 and the MX systems, are basically land-based systems, but they also work at sea. And this is their latest version. It's very capable of dealing with lots of threats.
And that's a bad miss.
The IDF have issued this to show that it's effective, and really, I think, to reassure the people of Israel that although ballistic missiles will get through, we are still able to deal with them quite effectively. But
okay, I actually didn't expect this guy to be like, yeah, the IDF has shown this series of images that could be literally anything ever, that they can indeed shoot missiles and shoot drones out of the sky, to reassure the public that that can happen.
Some have got through.
Yeah, Israelis are feeling so reassured right now that they're trying to leave the country en masse. But Israel won't let them leave. Literally won't let them leave.
Came through from Tel Aviv of some of the damage there. I mean, very extensive looking civilian damage. I mean, that's no joke. and that looks like a ballistic missile hit, just looking at the range of destruction. And the Israeli public have got to expect that this will go on for some time.
Well, I wasn't expecting that kind of expert analysis from this complete chimp. Apparently, is this an interview with Naftali Bennett? Oh my God. This is crazy. This is crazy.
To our top story, conflict in the Middle East between Israel and Iran. In a moment, we'll go to Tehran, but first let's speak to the former Prime Minister of Israel, Naftali Bennett.
First, let's speak to a complete genocidal psychopath, Kill McKilson.
Joins me now. Very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. What is your latest reaction to the scale of attacks that Israel has received in the last 4 days domestically, but including overnight?
So, you know, think about the framing of this question, chat. It's like, hey, you are being given a platform to say exactly whatever you want about this. What's your reaction? What's your reaction? That's like the kind of thing that we say on Red Planet, like, in order to get our guests to just, like, say what they want. What's your reaction to this?
Well, Israeli population centers have been attacked by Iranian ballistic missiles, and in several cases, the ballistic missiles directly hit residential buildings.
No. What happened was the Iron Dome defense system was firing at them, shot them down, and then the remnants hit residential areas, and then the other thing that's been happening is the Iron Dome defense system has been missing some missiles, and those missiles, those anti-air missiles, have been hitting residential areas as well.
We have,
that's the reality of it.
29.
I'm not saying at all that Iran did not miscalculate some missiles, and and then they might have hit some residential areas, but listen to what he's saying here. He's saying there's 29 deaths. That's what he's going to say next.
They hit residential buildings, so we have 29 dead. And
right, if they directly hit a residential building, it would be more than 29 dead. Like, if you're talking about the city center of Tel Aviv, where the IOF headquarters is, and all these military targets where Israel literally uses human shields, and they directly hit a residential building, it will be like a high-rise, a hotel. There would be far more than 29 people in those buildings. Come on, man.
Wounded. It's very unpleasant, but we're resolute. We understand that if we don't act now to remove this threat, next time around, it wouldn't be just ballistic missiles with conventional weapons.
There are literally so many shelters
with nuclear warheads. So we act now, and the pain is much smaller in present than in the future.
He's trying to imply that, so what he's trying to do, yeah, of course, the majority of Israelis will be in shelters, and that 29 civilians would be, look again, they're literally showing footage of it. Look at this shit. Look at this. You say that this is a direct hit from a missile. I'm sorry, dude. There is no way, no shot that is a direct hit from a missile. That is where a bit of wall fell off a poorly constructed apartment building because a missile went off near it.
Would be.
So anyway, what I'm saying is, yeah, the 29 Israeli civilians who died, well, first of all, it'll be more than that, or maybe less than that. I don't know. It just depends on. It won't be the correct answer. There won't be 29 civilians dead. It'll either be more or it'll be less, depending on what the Hasbro wants to put out. It's likely that it'll be less because Hasbro will be like, make it seem like they've killed more. And again, important to remember, folks, that when Israel reports casualties of war, so like injuries of war, it also includes acute anxiety. Yeah? They count that as a casualty of war. If someone has to sit in a bed for a bit in a hospital because they're a bit scared. Yeah? So there you go.
Ballistic missiles with nuclear
Anyway, where was I up to with that? The majority of them will have been in shelters. The majority will have been in shelters. The ones who died were probably overwhelmingly likely to be Arab Israelis or Thai foreign nationals who they refused to let in to the bunkers, as we saw earlier in the stream.
Warheads. So we act now.
Inflate civilian deaths and hide military deaths. Yeah, there's probably loads of military deaths.
Is this a war of defense, or is it fair to say at least that it is a proactive offensive action by Israel to protect its ability to defend itself?
Oh my God, it's literally like, would you say that this is a war of defense? Is Israel defending itself, or is Israel defending itself in the future by doing a preemptive strike? It's like both answers to that question serve the state of Israel. Like, come on, man.
It's a preemptive war of defense.
The wording is fucking mental.
Is this a war of defense, or is it fair to say at least that it is a proactive offensive action by Israel to protect its ability to defend itself in the future?
Do you know what I mean? Are you joking me?
It's a preemptive war of defense. When you know that
both questions will have the same answer. Yeah, we're defending ourselves. Yeah, swear to God, colonizers can't defend. Literally, there's no such thing as a colonizer that is defending itself.
Your enemy that explicitly says that it wants to remove Israel from the face of Earth is rapidly developing nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles.
That's it, yeah. Are Israel the good guys or Iran the bad guys? It's like that kind of a question, yeah.
Just gonna
That's right, Mia.
go away. And we have a tendency now to believe our enemies. When they say they want to annihilate Israel, we believe them. So we're acting now.
How confident are you that you can remove any nuclear capability from Iran, given...
Yeah, how about I preemptively collect my paycheck?
Deeply hidden.
How about I preemptively collect my pension? How about that? You know?
Well, not all of their program is deep underground. So much of the program, including the Natanz facility, enrichment facility, is on the surface, and we've destroyed much of that base. And that's the central enrichment facility in Iran.
They just lie. They just lie over and over and over again. They were like, nah. They're not underground, bro. I swear to God, they're not underground. The thing is that actually the one that we nearly hit, where there might be a radioactive leak that is close to civilian centers, that's the main one. And we got a direct hit on that, and they can't do anything there anymore, even though they can, and it's fine. And
but you're right. We
swear
don't
to God,
have necessarily the capacity to remove everything. Nevertheless, you got to do what you can and not just sit idle and wait for your annihilation.
What?
Enrichment facility in Iran. But you're right, we don't have necessarily the capacity to remove everything. Nevertheless, you got to do what you can and not just sit idle and wait for your annihilation.
No, bullshit. I cannot believe that's something that just came out of your face. Like, what are you talking about?
Israeli ground troops to enter Iran?
I don't want to share any operational ideas, but we need to end this round, this conflict with Iran that does not have the capacity to develop nuclear weapons. We're not looking for any war.
Wait, so you admit that they don't have the capacity to develop nuclear weapons? Is he struggling with his English? I can't imagine he's struggling with his English, because I know that Zios are all literally like settler colonizers.
Conflict with Iran that does not have the capacity to develop nuclear weapons.
Oh my God. Naftali Bennett literally just like being rattled and saying the true thing. This is crazy.
We're not looking for any war with anyone. If Iran would lay down its nuclear program and stop attacking Israel, and I'll remind you that last year, twice in 2 different events.
Okay, again, chat. The reason that Naftali Bennett here has jumped to a next topic is because Iran said that they would end literally every single nuclear enrichment program it had if the US and Israel dropped sanctions against it. They would have made that deal in a day. In a fucking day. I think he's saying they need to leave Iran without the capacity to develop the weapons. Sure, yeah, he could be saying that, yeah.
Hurled hundreds of rockets and missiles towards Israel, unprovoked. If it doesn't do all of this, then...
Whoa!
And stop attacking Israel. And I'll remind you that last year, twice in 2 different events, it hurled hundreds of rockets and missiles towards Israel, unprovoked.
You bombed them! You bombed them! You literally bombed them! What are you talking about?
If it doesn't do all of this, then we can have peace in the Middle East.
No, dude, we can have peace in the Middle East when the Zionist entity dismantles and is over.
US capabilities, perhaps other Western capabilities, but the US clearly the leader on this.
Unprovoked.
Allow you to remove Iran's nuclear capabilities more efficiently, let's say?
Well, certainly the United States has specific arms and capabilities that Israel does not have that can deal with the underground facilities such as Fordo, where they enrich uranium.
This fucking loser is never going to ask him.
Urging America.
This is literally just a platform for manufacturing of consent. You know, it's crazy though, because I don't know whose consent they're thinking that they're going to manufacture. There was a poll the other day that came out. I think I saw Helena No Justice MTG posting about it. Majority of Brits do not want war. Where is it? 3rd of May with Iran. Yeah, here we go. 84% say Iran should be stopped from developing nuclear weapons. That's not the one I'm looking for. Government wants Britain not to go to war with Israel amid war. Oh, don't go to Israel. Where was it? There was a thing that I saw. Oh, here we go. Right. YouGov poll. In the event of a full-scale war between Israel and Iran, which side, if either, do you think the UK should back? Israel, 19%. Neither, 50%. Don't know, 25%. That is 75%. 75% of Brits do not want any part in any war between Iran and Israel. And, as well, crazy that 5% is the overall amount that people would, out of 4,980 adults, support backing Iran. That's crazy. I would be in that one. I would be in that bracket, for real. 18 to 24-year-olds overwhelmingly would rather support Iran than Israel. Yeah, that's right. I saw that, but I saw that bit as well. Magic Mia. Yeah. I don't know if you can, like, change that on here. Age, here we go. 18 to 24, 15% of 18 to 24-year-olds say that the UK should back Iran in a war between Israel and Iran. The number gets like steadily lower, but like there is a huge difference between the 25 to 49 age bracket and the 18 to 24 age bracket with Israel and Iran. The kids are all right, yeah, you know, the kids are doing all right, and that's what counts. That's what counts. That's why our government's trying to put them all in fucking prison.
I would say, though, that, you know, in a sense, Israel is doing the hard work on behalf of the rest of the world. We're the ones.
Oh, they love to say this shit. They love to say this shit.
An Iranian nuclear regime would be a nightmare for the entire world. So, if
bro,
we're the boots on the ground. We're not asking any.
The state of Israel, the Zionist entity, having nuclear weapons right now is a nightmare for the world.
From anyone, we're willing to do the job, but I do think that it would be the world's interest to remove this nuclear menace. Imagine if someone had done this to prevent North Korea from going nuclear, we'd have a much safer world.
When was the last time North Korea went to war with anyone? What are you talking about? What are you on about? What are you on about?
Did it. Now Israel is acting, paying the price, and we do, every country will make its own decisions.
I know for a fact that this guy is in like a mansion in Beverly Hills. He's not even in Israel. Yeah, we're not asking for anything except for continued arms supplied, normalization, state repression of dissent. That's all we want. That's all we want. If they had what we had, they'd use it for evil. Yeah, the nukes literally keep North Korea safe.
You mentioned at the top it was a preemptive strike to protect Israel's ability to defend itself.
No, you led the question and he agreed.
What was in your eyes, the precise justification for the timing to be preemptive? When was the line crossed that allowed that preemptive strike?
It's a combination of three components. One, Iran unprovoked shot hundreds of missiles and rockets at Israel. We didn't do anything.
No, not true. You fucking bombed Iran. Holy shit.
Iran, and they did this twice last year.
Because you bombed them twice.
They reached the amount of enriched uranium, highly grade enriched uranium, enough to create 10 nuclear warheads. And this is recent. And finally, we have a very narrow window of opportunity where Iran is vulnerable. And I want to emphasize, we are not at war with the Iranian people. We are.
He's going to say it, chat. He's going to say, Iranian people, now is the time to do your regime change.
War with the regime. The Iranian people are not Israel's enemy. It's a great.
Even though we are killing civilians and babies all over the place in Iran.
Nation, we have a great common history with the Persians.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Wars only with the Mullah regime. So the combination of this three made it critical to act now.
Just finally, has this?
They just say anything, don't they? They just say whatever they want.
United.
They literally all hate Israel.
Behind not so much the action, but
every single Iranian hates Israel. It's crazy that they're doing this appeal to like Iranian people.
Behind your prime minister at the moment, is everyone in support of Benjamin Netanyahu?
Everyone's in support of defending Israel. Clearly, Israel's a democracy, and there's
wrong. They literally. I saw this the other day. I saw this the other day. Where the fuck was this? This literally happened like the other day. Oh my god, where was this? Israeli Communist Party. Did I spell it wrong? Is that why it's done it? I swear to God, Israeli opposition leader arrested. They arrested someone the other day. They literally arrested a party leader the other day. Oh my god. Man arrested driving into anti-government. I swear to God, I definitely saw something like that the other day. Anyway, they do stuff like this all the time.
Coalition.
Maybe I was tripping. I'm seeing so much fucking news and misinfo at the minute, chat.
This government should be replaced. That's no secret. But on the war or campaign to remove this menace, we should have done this long ago.
Shut up, man. Shut the fuck up.
Through the timeline of events.
Okay, let's see how she fares with another Iranian correspondent, Iranian person. Let's see what the Iranian ambassador to the UK says. I'm going to go to the toilet real quick.
Since Friday, since Israel launched those airstrikes and that attack on Iran, I just want to get your reaction to the events of the last 3 days.
Okay, thank you so much for Sky News for this interview, first of all. And regarding for your question, let me say something regarding for the violation of international law by Israeli regime. I do believe that the barbaric Israeli regime make another dirty page in his history of violation of international law. His activities against Islamic Republic of Iran and the Iranian people make another criminal act in international law, according to the international law. You see, nowadays that we are witnessing an act of aggression against the one member of the United Nations. On the other hand, the Israeli regime has a very big collection of the crimes against, different peoples, especially in Gaza, Palestinian people, war crime, crime against humanity, genocide, and now another act of aggression. You see, this
hey, what's going on, Devin?
Established on terrorism, based on established on regarding for the violation of different rules and principles of international law, and so two international judicial bodies now asserted the genocide, crime against humanity, and
is this loud enough, chat?
And now we are witnessing another act of aggression against the Iran and Iranian people. You see that
Ambassador, Ambassador, I just want to get
please.
Your
She's so much louder than him.
To the news that's come in the last hour or so.
Let me finish. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I just want to.
According to the article
go ahead.
51 of the United Nations Charter, this is our inherent right of to self-defense. Now we are defending ourselves according to the Charter of United Nations. There is no doubt that the one act of aggression has been placed against the Iranian territory, and according to this principle, this is the very important principle, and in United Nations,
they're gonna go ham about him almost saying regime. They're gonna go crazy.
The charter, and as well as
they're gonna be like, oh my god, he nearly said regime. He admitted that he nearly said regime.
International law that to defend ourselves. There is no doubt that we are very firm into defending ourselves, and regarding for all of the activities and reactions against the Israeli regime activities, all of them has been doing in the framework of legitimate right and
I'm just gonna go and put some veg on.
Self-defense.
Ambassador, I'm just going to ask you about the news that's come in the last hour or so, that President Trump, and this is the Reuters news agency reporting this, that President Trump vetoed a move that Benjamin Netanyahu wanted to make to assassinate the supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Just your reaction to that.
You see that the Israeli regime has committed a lot of crimes, President Trump has a very he's very honest to according to his claims to preserving the peace and international security. Okay, no problem. Please.
Chat, do not let me forget I've got a pot on the stove.
Not to that.
I shouldn't forget, but
Benjamin Netanyahu now is a criminal, should be punished. Not only for saying something to him, not to this one. This is very important for us that the President Trump and the United States of America, as a permanent member of the Security Council, they should know their responsibilities, their obligations according to the United Nations Charter. But unfortunately, there is no sign for this reason. there is no sign for this matter that unfortunately we are witnessing again and again crime by Israeli regime and supported by the United States.
When was this video put out? Oh shit. 1 day ago. I bet they're already reporting on this. Iranian ambassador admits it's a regime. Do you know what? They didn't actually seize on that. That's so funny. All right, okay. I stand corrected.
Ambassador, I just want to ask, is there a scenario in which Iran would be willing to come back to the negotiating table? And do you think that Iran miscalculated this situation by not thinking that Israel would launch this attack? Because Donald Trump even now is saying to Iran, come and strike a deal. Are you likely to go back to the negotiating table?
You see that always Iran is welcoming from the negotiation. We're looking for every peaceful solution for this for all of the matters related to the Iranian peaceful nuclear activities. We declared that we prefer and our priority is the diplomacy and negotiations. But unfortunately, in the middle of negotiation, the Benjamin Netanyahu made another,
yeah, why don't you just sit down and take this fucking illegal assault?
The Sunday, it was planned to have to convene the 6th round of the negotiation between Iran and United States in Muscat. But unfortunately, now we are exercising our self-defense right. And so you see that if this kind of activities, aggressive activities will be stopped, that at that time that we are going to consider the two negotiation.
It's just a couple of missiles.
President Trump said that there was a 60-day deadline that Iran was given. If they didn't agree to the deal and they didn't agree to come to some kind of agreement, the threat of Israel...
hey, Mortimer, how are you doing?
On the 61st day, Israel launched...
it was 1,000 missiles, actually.
Please confirm whether there was a 60-day deadline that Iran was aware of.
During the 60 days that, we have a very, very constructive approach from Iranian side based on good faith to remove any concern and worries regarding for the Iranian peaceful nuclear activities, that this is our intention. On the other hand, that we want as a member of the MP.
Sky News lady really expects Iran to be afraid of Israel, yeah.
Or right. One of the
Sky News is so compromised. Even though they did a good interview with, I can't remember who it was. It was that one UK British Israel spokesperson. I think we watched it on the stream like a week or so ago before any of this erupted, and he was having like a good back and forth with this guy, and he was like pushing him, being like, yeah, but you do the genocide, yeah, but like the humanitarian aid is like not getting to people, and yeah, like, people are saying that the IOF shot first and this, that, and the other, and now all of a sudden they're just like straight back to like sucking Israel's dick, like, oh my god, scary brown nation, Iran.
Enrichment of uranium. This is a very...
I mean, when you look at Sky News, we have to remember all the time, folks, that they're playing a fucking game with us, this media, this mainstream media. Australian Sky News is so much more different to UK Sky News. And Australian Sky News will have videos where they call Greta Thunberg a doom goblin and all this crazy stuff, and call her like a psychopath lefty, saying about how she's got autism and that's why she's so crazy and loves Hamas and all this stuff. And then like in the UK Sky News, they'll say that, but like not as insane. They'll say that in like a coded way. It's so medieval it's considered normal to have an ultimatum of do as we say or we start blowing up civilians. Yeah, no, it is. That capitalism can only exist in that fashion. Give us all the monopoly on oil, and that's the end of it. Thank you, pal. I have not forgotten my veg. I've put it onto Steam, and I've got a timer on, so appreciate that.
Important. If they want to, according to the IAEA obligations and IAEA statute, there is no doubt that Iran, as a member of the IAEA, would like to, to do everything according to its obligations. And
set your own timer for me, legend.
In its
big up, lad.
The IAEA, in its latest quarterly report, said that Iran had amassed enough
looking after me, aren't you?
Enriched up to 60% purity, and that a short technical step away from weapons grade or 90%. So the IAEA is saying that you, Iran, are not living up to your obligations.
You see, that first of all, that I would like to declare this matter.
Whoa.
Uranium enriched up to 60% purity, and that a short technical step away from weapons grade or 90%. So the IAEA is saying that you, Iran, are not living up to your obligations.
The IAEA is also compromised by Israel, and Iran revealed that it had obtained documents that proved that a couple of days before this war broke out.
You see, that first of all, that I would like to declare this matter. Several times that the Iranian officials mentioned that every nuclear activities of Iran is under the monitoring and, on the auspices of monitoring of the IAEA. There is no any ambiguity for this matter. And I do believe that the recent resolution by the board of governors of IAEA is a politically motivated action. This is the one aspects of, unfortunately, European countries make another mistake regarding for the Iranian nuclear activities. And it's very important that during the implementation of JCPOA, we prove our genuine intention to regard and implementation all of the matters related to the Iranian peaceful nuclear activities. IAEA reported 15 times that there is no any deviation, there is no any breaches from Iranian side regarding for the nuclear activities.
Yeah, they're not living up to the deal that they're not obligated to maintain. Exactly.
Peaceful activities. And now, but
they're now saying.
Yes, please.
Yes, they're now saying that you're not meeting your obligations, Ambassador. I've just got a few more minutes left. I just want to get to this next point because Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, spoke to Sky News today and said that the UK is moving assets to the region and said that the UK military assets could potentially be used to help defend Israel, and the government is not ruling anything out at this stage. If the UK does assist Israel as an ally, is that a red line for Iran, and how is Iran likely to respond?
You see that we had a very, different communication with the different officials of the British government. Our minister, Dr. Arakchi, has a telephone conversation with the Secretary Lamy. And the other hand, I, as an Iranian ambassador to the United Kingdom, I had a meeting with Mr. Falconer. And on the other hand, there is another communication between Iranian side and British side.
Yeah, Rachel, difficult decisions. Reeves sending bombs over in the blink of an eye. Well, earlier in the stream, she said that Israel has, we reported that she said earlier today that Israel has a right to defend itself. So, of course, she's just going to do whatever. And again, we got the Iranian official here saying that basically they've had different communications from David Lammy. David Lammy is obviously compromised and is going to do whatever the fuck Israel wants at this stage. And, has always done that. Scammy Lammy. And it's just sickening. They're playing a game with Iran at this point.
We consider the non-involvement of the United Kingdom in this aggressive action against Iran. That the several times, Sir Starmer, the Prime Minister Starmer mentioned, and as well as the Secretary Lamy, regarding for the non-involvement of the British government in the criminal act of the aggression against Iran. That's good. But it's very important. It's very important to continue, according to the member of the Security Council of the United Nations, to do their responsibilities. We do expect, as a member of the United Nations, that and we request all of the member states to their responsibility regarding for the preserving and maintaining of the peace and security in the world, especially in our region, and regarding for the different adventurous actions of the barbaric regime of the Israel. And so we do believe, according to our bilateral relations, let me finish. This is very important. Our bilateral relations between Iran and United Kingdom, there is no concern, there is no any threats from Iranian side to the British government, British people, somebody coming to your channel and on the other British media, making some very unjustified argumentation, very invalid argumentation regarding for the threats from Iranian side to the British people. This is all of them totally wrong. I'm declaring as the Iranian ambassador that Iranian peaceful activities of the nuclear fields is a very important only for the generation of the electricity and other peaceful using of in peaceful ways. That's it.
Yeah, sorry, we're going to have to close more schools. We're going to have to construct more schools with the building material that collapses on its own and falls down and kills children because we need to bomb Iran back into the Stone Age. Born too late to be deployed in the Middle East, born just in time to be deployed in the Middle East. Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? It's really cool. Good stuff. Yeah, the IAEA sold out their scientists and research facilities to the Mossad. Yeah. They're not independent. They're not an independent actor in any way. Would you believe I seriously considered joining the army before this? Because I've been unemployed for 5 years. I'm never surprised to hear that people have considered joining the army. And, like, for sure, I would say to anybody, like, do not fall for it in any way, shape, or form. Because if you join the army, you'll get healthcare, you'll get college paid for, or whatever it is, the benefits that you get from joining the army. But that's the trap that the state gets you in. It's like, yo, look, all this money that you could make, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, you're being deployed to the Middle East.
Ambassador, before I let you go, I just want to ask about what has happened over the course of the last few days. We have seen top commanders...
Does she have something in Arabic on her necklace there? I can't tell.
By the Israelis. We've seen nuclear facilities targeted. We've seen military facilities hit and targeted.
Would the Iranian Revolutionary Guard take you? I don't know.
Has the capability
You'd have to ask them.
And the capacity to continue and prolong this conflict with Israel? And do you believe that you have the ballistic missiles in your arsenal to continue to
the army's ads are so vile right now.
Israel.
They've been vile for a long time.
Taken by surprise.
They're always like, oh my God, see the world, have a life, get things done. Yeah, play football, learn skills. It's like, bro, you can do all that without joining the army.
By what you saw Israel do over the course of the last few days.
Yeah, it could be mirrored, yeah.
You see, is it a matter of principle?
Die for us, die for us.
Self-defense of all selves.
Jump into the meat grinder.
We are, as a very responsible state,
waiting for the army to start playing COD on Twitch again.
We do all of the activities according to our obligation, international obligation, and the framework of the United Nations Charter. So any activities regarding for our capabilities only in the framework of all self-defense, only this one. This is a very important issue that to Iranian government, Iranian people has a very important principle to self-defense, self all ourselves, self our people, our innocent people that has been killed by the Israeli regime during the 3 days. And on the other hand, the Israeli regime...
She had no idea what he's saying, yeah.
Violation of international law to military attack to the nuclear facilities. This is contrary to the Security Council Resolution 487, 1981. This is a very important. That according to this, in this framework, we are going to do our capacity, our capability to defend ourselves. There is no doubt that the Iranian people has a very proud people, is a very honored people to self themselves during the history. And so we are going to our best, our endeavor to preserve our territorial integrity, to preserve our resources, and the other hand, human resources and economic resources. That inshallah.
Legend, Mort just said, I just started volunteering in a charity warehouse recently. It's better than joining the army. I'd rather deadlift sofas instead. Legend, absolute legend. That is exactly the right thing to do.
Allah, with the help of the God, we're going to materialize this.
No one wants to kill or be killed for their shitty governments anymore, yeah.
Against our enemy, Israeli regime.
He has got a soothing voice, yeah.
Ambassador, thank you.
I think that also, like, you know, they've platformed him in this way where she's pretending to not hear what he's saying, or I don't know, maybe she just genuinely can't understand what he's saying because you know, he is like stumbling over his words at some point, and English is obviously his second language, but maybe that's been done on purpose so that, you know, the Sky News audience will be like, look at this guy, he can't even speak English, you know. It'll be shit like that. That's why they do this shit. Let's take a look at some other stuff. We had the ICE protests over the weekend as well. In the USA. So the entire time that you had this war beginning in the Middle East, you also had you know, genuine uprisings in the USA as well, like complete non-support of the government, non-support of Donald Trump. Yeah, some of it was a bit liberal, but a lot of it was pretty radical, which is pretty fucking cool, to be honest. But yeah, we got a lot of content from this specifically to get through. Well, not a lot, to be fair. What do we got? We got a couple of videos. We got a couple of memes, a couple of things to check out. Yeah, it's mostly just riot porn, to be honest, chat. I'm just gonna real quick go and grab my dinner because I'm pretty fucking hungry. What time is it? 22:01. Chat, I've been streaming for like 3 hours. Yeah, I've been streaming for exactly 3 hours since I hit go live. Please consider subbing to the stream. Please consider donating with sub off Twitch. Please consider becoming a patron. And also please consider supporting me by retweeting, reposting, all that kind of business. And as well, please consider going to my socials and supporting me on all my other platforms. I would really, really appreciate the support. Right, okay, I'm gonna go grab some scran. Back in the tick. Okay. Yeah, don't forget about the boy. I went to a No Ice protest on Saturday evening, quite a broad crowd. There was no Kings protest a couple of hours before. It was hot as hell, but was fun. Hell yeah. Yeah, let's go, man. Great work. Great work, Devin. Okay, situation in downtown LA is going downhill quickly. Let's see what this is saying. Yo, they're just like hitting an old man. Damn, dude, that's so cool that they just like push that old man over. He was obviously such a violent protester, such a extreme Marxist infiltrator of the protests. Oh, dude, this sucks. Fuck cops so hard. We got Andy Ngo here, just like doing some insane reporting, basically being like, open border rioters are starting fires in downtown after being repelled from besieging the federal building on the No Kings Day protest. What this is an example of something interesting, and I'll go through this in a bit. But look at the actual stuff, right? Look at the actual thing that's being posted here. We've got a fire that's been started by someone, don't know who, and then in the video itself, they're putting it out. Damn, look at these extreme leftist protesters putting out that fire. You know? The feds would be lobbing people in it and not putting it out. Yeah, exactly. So, like, important to remember that Andy Ngo here, who supplies kill lists to Atomwaffen, stochastic terrorist far-right fascist group, is posing here saying that open border rioters are the same as the No Kings Day protesters. You have to remember, yeah? Yeah, radical Marxists with the stars and stripes as well, yeah. What you have to remember is it doesn't matter how peaceful you want to protest. If you're a liberal and you're watching this and you're thinking, I don't really speak up in Mule's chat too much because they're all radical leftists, but I appreciate his opinions and stuff like that. If you're a liberal and you're going to the No Kings Day protests and you're like, don't worry, we're the peaceful protesters, you will get lumped in by these fascists. You are not safe. You are simply not safe. Doesn't matter how peaceful you say you're being, they will still refer to you as far left, radical Marxists. That's just how it goes. That's just literally how it goes. What else do we got here? Hats off to the ABC News reporter Matt Gutman for keeping his cool yesterday. This LAPD officer needs to be relieved of duty if he can't handle an alleged touch without snapping. What the fuck happened here?
No, I didn't. You're on TV, and now you're pushing me on live television. All right, we didn't touch anybody. You know that's true. You're okay. Thank you. I got it. So you can see.
Again, remember, chat, this is an ABC News reporter, and this Fed here, Perez, is going sicko mode. The killology has worked so hard on this guy. This guy has been gritting his teeth, you know, having a real tense body, tense your shoulders, put your head forward, think really angry thoughts. And he's definitely like sniffing coke before the protest as well. 1,000%. You know? If they're not Fox, they're the enemy. Or even if they are Fox, they're the enemy. Yeah.
Obviously, tensions are extremely high here.
Yes, because you touched the officer.
No,
Don't touch the officer.
we have video testimony. Nobody touched an officer. Okay. Obviously, massively high.
These are babies. These are actually babies. Listen to how he's yelling.
Okay. Thank you. I got it. So you can see, obviously, tensions are extremely high here.
Yes, because you touched the officer.
Yeah, you touched the officers. These are like heavily militarized nerds. They're exactly the same as the IOF.
We have video testimony. Nobody touched an officer. Okay.
IDF training showing through, yeah.
Obviously, massively high tensions here. These folks are tired. They are also hot. It's a long day, and it's been a long week.
Really important as well.
We clearly didn't week. We clearly didn't touch the officers. You're on live television, sir.
Yes, you did. We were live on the air.
Thank you so much. We will stay back. We appreciate what you're doing here. Tensions are high. That was a moment that we haven't experienced.
That is actually like pretty impressive that he did manage to keep his cool there. You know? Based cop against non-consensual touching, yeah, but also like not, because he didn't actually get touched.
It's very often here. I think that there has been respect between the media and law enforcement here. We have kept our distance.
They're like, right, let's redirect this insane rabid dog to further down the road where we can pit him against some peaceful protesters. You know, it's just crazy. It's just fucking crazy. Anytime someone tries to tell me LA is being destroyed and they wouldn't live here or whatever, I'm just sending them this. I don't know what this is. Hang on, I'm so zoomed in right now.
Oh, Texas is the best because I'm in California and no one's trying to take my weed. It's 72 degrees. I'm on a beach smoking a joint, watching porn. You smell that? That's the smell of freedom.
What the fuck?
Oh, Texas is the best because I'm in California and no one's trying to take my weed. It's 72 degrees. I'm on a beach smoking a joint, watching porn. You smell that? That's the smell of freedom.
Oh, bro. Hi, CEO. I mean, this guy had a good response to this, like, weird Texan loser, but... hi, CEO. Just like, oh, man. America, baby, yep! Oh, American, baby, yep! This is one of the craziest pictures of the protest that I've seen so far, I think. This absolute sicko, heavily militarized fascist Gestapo loser pointing a taser at some kid in a hot dog costume. This is mental. This is absolutely mental. Literally, this meme from I Think You Should Leave. Nothing gets the libido going like sand everywhere. Yeah, porn at the beach. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Okay. I've seen so many people. Can white women and specifically Americans do anything without having to reference pop culture? Right. I genuinely think that this is good. I genuinely think that this is a good thing that is happening. I get what she's saying. I understand white women can be cringe from the perspective of people of color, specifically women of color. They can be cringe. You know, I'm not saying they can't be cringe in our perspective either, like from like me, like a cis white guy. But I genuinely think that more people should be doing stuff like this at protests. I think that more people should be dressing up and making protests, you know, fun and exciting and interesting, you know? I get that people want to say it's cringe, but like, genuinely, if you aren't like going out, it's a valid point, but The Handmaid's Tale is very much what if this happened to white people showbook. Yeah, absolutely. I get it. But you know, I think that this is a flashpoint for people like this, and it's a great time to radicalize them. And I think that more radical people could learn stuff from bringing art to protest. You know, they did it in the ZAD, in the Red Planet documentary. We're going to talk a lot about that. So I think it's you know, it shouldn't be cosplay for an Amazon show. I mean, that's the cringe aspect of it, right? The pop culture bit of it is like, yeah, come on, man. Yeah, I do get it, but also conversely, I think that more people should be doing this. This is fucking crazy, by the way. Another MAGA psycho bringing a gun to a protest at the Arizona Capitol just so he could instigate a fight and then point it at the crowd. Oh, hold up. That doesn't work. It's crazy that these are liberals. It's crazy that these are liberals and this guy had a gun. You know? And they're just like attacking him. It's like, oh, you guys feel so safe to do this. This is crazy. Yo, he's pointing his gun at the crowd. This is nuts, dog. Someone is gonna get shot again. This is only gonna escalate, man.
Yo, put it away, bro. Hey, yo, guys! Get down! Put your gun down! Put it down!
Fascist psycho, man. Kyle Rittenhouse wannabe. There was one right-winger in Utah who brought a gun and got shot back, but I think unfortunately a random protester got killed with a stray bullet. Yeah, I heard that, yeah. Say what you want about Americans, but going protesting when this is such a possible reality. This is why I have respect for the liberals who are doing these No Kings protests anyway. Do you know what I mean? I think calling them liberals is a disservice. That was not civil at all. It's how you should respond to Nazi shit. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, but the thing is that people will be calling these protesters liberals. Liberals just don't do that. Yeah, but they are liberals, and they went to a No Kings protest, which is overwhelmingly a libbed up protest, and they responded like that. That's why I'm saying that this is like a flashpoint. Like, you know, we can sit here for as long as we like and be like, oh, these are libbed up protests, these are liberals and shit like that, but they'll respond like this, and it's the right thing to do, you know. So people just don't know anything though. So like they're watching The Handmaid's Tale, and you know, not really understanding the connotations. So seeing that IRL might be the first thing that makes them get it. Yeah. This is what I'm saying. Like we don't do any, like, you know, we don't do any. There's no forward momentum if we are constantly being like, "Ha, look at these liberal losers." Yeah, it just doesn't. It just isn't. It just at this point particularly. It isn't getting us anywhere. I was having a chat. Hey, Aslan, how you doing? I was having a chat with some comrades recently about in a different protest context, keeping some counter protest fun, making light out the opposition and drowning out their bile. Yeah, it's important. It's important stuff. This is crazy. I mean, to be fair, he didn't even have his gun out at this point. I think he was just like having a fight. This is crazy. When I tell you Los Angeles is an occupied city county, this is what I mean. Check it out.
3:30 this afternoon off Alondra Boulevard, Air 7 captured a Marine helicopter flying above the raid. On the ground, the agents appeared to be accompanied by Marines who were also armed. Witnesses say they seemed to randomly go through the crowd asking questions.
Asking people where they were from.
Did you see the girl throw a guy's Trump hat into the back of a trailer? No, have you got a link?
Where they were born from. And I told them,
Land of the free, just not if you have an opinion, you might get shot, yeah. Their ideology is liberal, but fuck, I was a member of the Green Party a few years ago. Give people space. Yeah, I was shilling for Corbyn on the internet. Like, in 2019. Lots of people were. Lots of people were invested in electoral politics.
And
again, when I've consistently in the past said to people, electoral politics will not save us. It's a waste of time. It is absolutely with the caveat that we need a diversity of tactics. And if people are going to run on socialist platforms, that's why I'm backing Zoran Mamdani in New York. He's got socialist safety nets at the heart of his campaign, and if he beats Andrew Cuomo, it will be a dead cert net good for the people of New York. Yeah, he's walked back on a couple of things. He's walked back on defunding the police. I don't think anyone is expecting people to not make concessions when they get into office. That's how it works, you know what I mean? 2019 was a year of hope for every left liberal. Yeah, exactly. And it's when those hopes get dashed that people get radicalized. That's why I became a fucking communist. I mean, I was already pretty much there, but I don't think I didn't realize it. I thought I was just like, yeah, this is what you do. You support like a left-wing candidate who has got social policies, and that's how we get change, and that's how you do it. And I really thought it was going to happen with Bernie Sanders and Jeremy Corbyn, but it didn't, because Israel controls what happens in terms of electoral politics. Not necessarily Israel, just like US empire. And the Israel lobby. The Bolsheviks participated in bourgeois elections. Exactly, yeah. Elections are the best political platform.
People being taken into custody as witnesses record video.
We should be organizing and using electoral politics platforms.
Kind of shocking, but also very disheartening.
Liz, a U.S. citizen who doesn't want her face on camera, was here with her dad ahead of Father's Day to enjoy a concert.
Saw them and I thought, oh my gosh, are they going to take me? Are they going to take my dad? And what's going to happen to us? So it did scare me.
Dramatic video in Santa Fe Springs shows armed ICE agents dressed in tactical gear swarming this swap meet.
You guys should be so proud, so proud.
It happened around 3:30 this afternoon off Alondra Boulevard. Air 7 captured a Marine helicopter flying.
And also, chat, in here, we're organizer-pilled, yeah? Zoran Mamdani had the momentum that he had because he had the support of the New York unions. Christian Smalls, all these kind of people are supporting him. The man who got AOC to finally say free Palestine. Yeah, exactly. Literally, AOCIA said free Palestine because of Zoran Mamdani. Yeah, let's see what this is. Yo. Why are some TikTok videos like so loud and some are like so quiet? in his motherfucking suit, this absolute loser. He's running after his hat in the trailer. This is so good. Oh, this is great. Bro, just let the hat go.
Said he wasn't expecting the cardio when he put that suit on this morning.
Yeah, I got a good little workout.
I know. Oh my God, I saw you. Yeah. You really wanted that hat. You didn't get it, huh?
No, but she's gonna buy me a new one.
I can't fucking hear what the fuck they were saying at the end there.
Said he wasn't expecting the cardio when he put that suit on this morning.
Yeah, I got a good little workout.
I know. Oh my God, I saw you. Yeah. You really wanted that hat. You didn't get it, huh?
No.
In my head, I'd just be thinking, what if he has a gun? Yeah, me too. Yeah, that person was brave to do that shit. Oh God, we're back on the... Oh God. Why did this have to come back? Why did this have to come back?
Flying above the raid. On the ground, the agents appeared to be accompanied by Marines who were also armed. Witnesses say they seemed to randomly go through the crowd asking.
I think that AOC has been compromised. She's had AIPAC money, no? I think that's why it's timid. I think that Mossad are like, listen, man, we will fucking murder you if you say free Palestine. If he wants to buy another MAGA hat, it's going to be 55% more expensive because of the tariffs. Yeah.
Questions.
Asking people where they were from, where they were born from, and I told them I was from the United States. And then they proceeded to walk away, and they took a picture of me with the specialized cell phone camera.
These images show people being taken into custody as witnesses record video.
Losers. To see it firsthand was kind of shocking, but also very disheartening.
Liz, a U.S. citizen who doesn't want her face on camera, was here with her dad ahead of Father's Day to enjoy a concert.
Saw them and I thought, oh my gosh, are they going to take me? Are they going to take my dad? And what's going to happen to us? So it did scare me.
Dramatic video in Santa Fe Springs shows...
Crazy, man. Let's take a look at the Trump parade. Despite what I said, yeah. She got into shit for rejecting AIPAC money. Oh, did she actually get rejected? Fair enough, I didn't know that. Despite what I said about meeting liberals where they're at, you absolutely don't have to meet liberals where they're at when they say stuff like this. And also, like, isn't this like Lincoln Project guy? Aren't they like, these are like rad libs, right? So these are like blue MAGA lost in the sauce people, I think, possibly. No, this isn't North Korea you're seeing. No, of course it isn't North Korea that you're seeing. Because North Korea would, like, shit all over this parade. Look, they're not even, like, in a proper line. Resist Republicans, never Trumpers, right. Yeah. Loser shit. This sketch came out 17 years ago. I don't know if this is actually about this, but like, even this shits all over that parade. Chat, they've got baby dogs, and these baby dogs are probably going to be abused and used to do like horrific things for the military if they're ever deployed. But look. Claudia Scheinbauer fucking loves it, dude. It's fucking so good. It's so good. Just got back for the Trump parade. I have to say it was legitimately the worst executed mass attendance event I've ever seen. One overarching thought: how do you spend $80 million and fumble the basics? Many more thoughts. Yeah, it's looking bad. It is proper bobbins too. No, it is, but it still shits all over this one. That's a pretty short video. What else do we got? Not just saying this as a hater, I've also planned an event on the mall that was larger than this. It was 14 days notice and a tiny fraction of the budget, but who's counting? Let's go chronologically though. Somehow this checkpoint was closed by 6 p.m. They had miles of bike racks set up. Somehow, I don't think this was their design plan. Yo, that's crazy. That is dead. The carriers had the names of the dogs on them, I know. It was really cute. This funneled everybody to one single checkpoint. About 50,000 people were trapped on Constitution Avenue because there was one 10-foot wide entrance point to access that massive checkpoint on the mall. Damn. So these are protesters. 15,000 protesters. This poor soldier probably passed Ranger School with flying colours, but it wouldn't last 2 days as a campaign crowd advance guy. What? More people saw Blackout Crew play in a field in Warrington, exactly, yeah. What is happening?
The right by trial by jury shall be preserved
They're like talking over each other. Coordination is so off. How is anyone supposed to know where to go? These maps are the sum total of what they put out and they're total garbage. Public safety overview map. Metro station closed. Roadblock. Pedestrian and restricted zone. Is that spelt wrong? Chat, that is spelt wrong. It has spelling errors. People just stood there with signs saying fuck off. Chat, this has a... Look at this spelling error. Pedestrian restricted zone. I can't believe this, man. This is crazy. This has to be a psyop. This has got to be a psyop. I don't believe this. Probably AI? Nah. No, they gave this to an actual military guy. No, AI would not have been able to get letters right. It wouldn't have been able to get, like, the letters right. Grok organize a military parade. Made this map in year 1. AI can spell. It depends which one, doesn't it? Could be AI. I don't know, man. I don't know. It just looks crazy. It just looks so crazy. Secret Service. Secret Service made this map. Mental. What's going on here? Oh, this looks like ass. Look at the colors on this. Look at... This is crazy looking. Malicious compliance, do you think? They got them, like, strikes through the zeros. Military strikes through the zeros, so you know it's military. So you know it's not an O. I love making graphics in Microsoft Word. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm always doing this. Parade star? Is that really how long the parade was? I can't believe that. Based on how much you've seen. I'd love it if it was the same company that did the Wonka-themed dystopia. Yeah. That's it. It's just like a straight line? That's crazy. And then they had like the festival. This is where Marjorie Taylor Greene was shooting guns. This is where Marjorie Taylor Greene was shooting every gun that she could possibly, like she got like a Stinger. And they were like, you can't fire that. I'm afraid. And she was like, nah, and she was trying to shoot down like US helicopters and shit. If I told you Pete Hegseth used the official Department of Defense Twitter account to lie about the parade attendance, would you believe me? Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt. Apparently this sketch from Whitest Kid You Know is related to some of the things that they've been saying.
Okay, thank you for waiting. The president has asked me to come out and make a brief statement about the wire that just went out a couple minutes ago. To make things short, I will just confirm that yes, we do have a moon base.
Hey, Layla.
And yes, we are currently experiencing some bear problems. Now, I will open it up if there are any questions.
Mr. Press Secretary! Mr. Press Secretary! Mr. Press Secretary!
New York Times.
Yes. I have a 11-part question.
I'm sorry, I only have time for 2.
All right, let me get this straight. So, the United States government is admitting that we do have a moon base and that there is a bear problem on said moon base.
Yes, that is correct.
All right, follow-up question. Are you with us?
That's a really good question. No, we are not, and I would like to remind everyone to keep the language civilized. This is the White House.
Excuse me, Mr. Secretary, Bob Daniels, Newsweek.
Mr. Daniels.
How long have we had the moon base? And are these bears Earth bears, or are they from the moon?
I'm sorry, I'm not at liberty to disclose how long we have had this moon base at this time. We do believe these to be Earth bears. We have no reason to believe these to be lunar bears or even Saturn bears.
Todd Albright, PBS. There's Saturn bears?
I am also not at liberty to go into the various types of woodland life forms on Saturn or any of the other 12 planets.
9 planets.
Right. I've said too much already. What I can show you is the images that have been beamed down to us from the Odyssey satellite system just a couple hours ago. This is the view out of the front door of the United States secret moon base. This was taken yesterday before we discovered the bear problem. And this one was taken just a couple hours ago. So, as you can see, bears everywhere.
Mr. President,
Mr. Jackson.
Yeah, those bears appear to have guns and motorcycles.
We believe they may be involved in some sort of intergalactic drug cartel, perhaps affiliated with one of the interstellar wizard alliances.
Wizard alliances?
Yes, next question.
Just a thought, more of a shot in the dark, but we wouldn't happen to be invading Iran today, would we?
You got me.
I fell for it. You almost got it.
Wizard alliances.
Wizard alliances?
Yes, next question.
Just a thought, more of a shot in the dark, but we wouldn't happen to be invading Iran today, would we?
You got me.
I fell for it. You almost got away with that one.
No, I went too far. I almost had it. I should have stopped after the slides. I knew I should have stopped there.
There's more to do with the previous segment, but yeah, there you go, chat. We got some cool stuff regarding the ICE protests. Phoenix anarchists turned out in numbers, seized and barricaded multiple intersections for several hours in solidarity with the risings against ICE across the country. This is pretty cool. Sick. Why does it look like 2002? I think they've put the filter on to stop people being identified. Even though most of these based folks have masks on. What else have we got? Anarchist Federation. New Jersey Nazis plan surprise rally next weekend. Well, surprise. Atlantic Nationalist Club is trying something stupid again. The fact that we know about it should tell you how much that they're failing. Neo-Nazi organization in New Jersey that has been trying to make a name for themselves is planning to rally on the June the 21st, but I've not decided where they'll hold it, between Philadelphia or Princeton in New Jersey. Atlantic Nationalist Club, a spin-off organization from a New Jersey chapter of White Lives Matter, founded by its former head, Claudino G. Petruccelli, does not have many members, and 3 of them have been incarcerated over the past 2 years. Nick Mucci, who attempted to attack a One People's Project benefit show. Andrew Takistov, who's accused of plotting to destroy energy facilities, and Stephen Koshliak, who was arrested the same week as Takistov, but his charges have not been made public after almost a year. In November 2022, Koshliak was one of 3, along with Petruccelli, arrested in Somerville, New Jersey, when they attempted to post White Lives Matter stickers on street posts and signs around town. Petruccelli additionally received a weapons charge for possessing a can of pepper spray larger than the legal size in New Jersey. These incidents and the feeling that the group is compromised by anti-fascists have kept other neo-Nazis away from Petruccelli and his group. Based. When the group protested outside the One People's Project office in December, they were confronted at a local diner by OPP members who learned about their plans the night before. 2 months later, they attempted to protest outside a bookstore in New Haven, Connecticut, but patrons were waiting for them when they arrived because the plans for that rally were also leaked. Petruccelli has shown a pattern of reckless violent behavior, including a fight, also in Connecticut 2 weeks before the bookstore rally. That fight with members of the Nationalist Socialist Club and its leader, Chris Hood, led to people being stabbed on... Gotta love it. Yeah, gotta love it. Gotta love the old Nazis stabbing each other scenario. One of my favorites. Shopping mall parking lot, but that fight did not materialize. Wessels, currently along with his partner Tara Streb, run the White Lives Matter chapter in New Jersey, Petruccelli's old position. So this is Sean Lemley of Lyndhurst, New Jersey, sparring with William A. Galmert of New York. Claudino Petruccelli on the left, sparring with Charles Netter of Connecticut. Yeah, just Night of the Long Knives things, yeah. Yeah. In April, Petruccelli and fellow ANAC member Sean Lemley, who works at ShopRite supermarket in Lyndhurst, New Jersey, that ran for the school board there last fall, returned to New Brunswick, New Jersey, to post flyers about attacking Carmelo Anthony, who is currently facing murder charges after he stabbed Austin Metcalf in an altercation at a Texas high school. There looks to be a case of self-defense on the part of Anthony. Anarchists followed them while they walked to the Rutgers University campus as they looked for a place to affix the flyers, which eventually posted on the glass doors and windows of two new university buildings, which were removed before anyone saw them. Petruccelli or Lemley knew they were being observed. On May 17, Petruccelli said in a post on his Signal account where he uses the name Ketamine, he expected 30 participants. Regardless of the reputation the ANAC has with other groups, they have to join them at their rally. They hope to have them join them at the rally on the longest day of the year. Cool. Infiltration of shitty anti-fascist groups there. From New Jersey anti-fascists. Really cool. We got some brain rot going on here. This is to do with Zoran Mamdani and his statements about Israel's right to exist, but from Zionists. So let's hear what they have to say.
Mr. Mamdani's name is Mr. Cardamom. Mr. Cardamom is a C-class rapper. Mr. Mamdani's name is Mr. Cardamom.
A C-class rapper? Fucking hell. Huge crowd against Zoran Mamdani.
The first person I beat, maybe
incredible crowd.
This ugly guy.
This is great. I knew this presser was going to be perfect when they opened it featuring a sign that accidentally praised Zoran. A forceful voice in Albany. That's great. That's great. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Mr. Mamdani is Mr. Cardamom and a C-class rapper remix.
Mr. Cardamom is a C-class rapper.
Zohran Mandani. Zohran Mandani. Zohran Mandani.
Mr. Cardamom is a C-class rapper.
Zohran Mandani.
That's it, chat.
Zohran Mandani.
Now, Mom, we're not living in yours. Why do I have to keep telling you this? And then on Wednesday.
So I was thinking we could
freeze the fucking rent.
Exactly. How did you?
Mr. Cardamom is a C-class
So I was
rapper.
thinking we could
Afford to live in the city.
Exactly. How did you
Know what you were thinking.
Mr. Cardamom is a C-class rapper.
Zohran Mandani. Zohran Mandani.
Sick.
Zohran Mandani.
So I was thinking we could
Freeze the fucking rent.
Zohran Mandani.
Zoran is a great communicator. Do you agree with that?
He's a great communicator.
Hey.
There you go.
WBAI New York.
There you go. All right. Chat, we're getting back to this. We got maybe another 20 minutes of the stream left, though, so maybe we should save this. What time is it? Nearly 11. Mr. Dank dropped that weird advert in the chat, didn't he? Hang on. How do I see the full logs? Oh, here we go. This is a pharmaceutical advert.
Phenylephrine is approved for adults with bipolar 1 disorder with acute, mixed, or manic episodes. Unlike some drugs for bipolar 1 disorder, nausea, vomiting, and restlessness are not common with Fanapt. Fanapt may be associated with serious side effects. Elderly patients with dementia-related psychosis treated
Mule, do you want some content? Yeah, man.
increased risk
Why not?
of stroke or death. Fanapt is not approved for elderly with dementia-related psychosis. Fanapt prolongs the QT interval and may be associated with abnormal heart rhythm or sudden death. In 5% or more of people in clinical trials, heart rate increases, dizziness, hypotension, Weight gain, dry mouth, stuffy nose, sleepiness, and increases in liver enzymes have been observed. These are not all the side effects. Talk to your prescriber and learn more at fanapt.com. By Vanda Pharmaceuticals.
If anyone here is in advertising or marketing, kill yourself. Thank you. Just a little thought. I'm just trying to plant seeds. Maybe one day they'll take root. I don't know. You try. You do what you can. Kill yourself. Seriously, though, if you are, do. No, really. There's no rationalization for what you do, and you are Satan's little helpers, okay? Kill yourself, seriously. You're the ruiner of all things good. Seriously. No, this is not a joke. He's going to be a joke coming. There's no fucking joke coming. You are Satan's spawn, filling the world with bile and garbage. You are fucked, and you are fucking us. Kill yourself. It's the only way to save your fucking soul. Kill yourself.
Chat, this is so rude. I can't believe he said this.
I know all the marketing people are going, he's just doing a joke. There's no joke here whatsoever. Suck a tailpipe, fucking hang yourself, borrow a gun from a yank friend. I don't care how you do it. Rid the world of your evil fucking machinations. Whatever, you know what I mean. I know what all the marketing people are thinking right now, too. Oh,
hate Elon stinks.
He's going for that anti-marketing dollar. That's a good market. He's very smart. Oh, man, I am not doing that. You fucking evil scumbags. Oh, you know what Bill's doing now? He's going for the righteous indignation dollar. That's a big dollar. A lot of people are feeling that indignation. We've done research. Huge market. He's doing a good thing. God damn it, I'm not doing that, you scumbags. Quit putting a goddamn dollar sign on every fucking thing on this planet.
Chat, that's crazy. Why would anyone say that about marketers? That's crazy. My partner is from Surrey. How do I absolve my sin for dating a southerner? Repent. Repent immediately. Repent now. Wobbegong just sent me this. What is this? Waking Life PT. A deviant playground for post-capitalist desire. Sooner is not a sanctuary, it's a feral ecology of radical care where desire mutates beyond the cages of respectability and pleasure becomes a militant act of repair. Here, we take Preciado's anal terror. What? And tenderize it into collective catharsis, because fucking, in all its slippery, snarling forms, is how we unlearn the body as property. This is where Adrienne Marie Brown's emergent strategies collide with Sophie Lewis's call to abolish the family. In a sling, a workshop, a whispered negotiation that rewires the circuitry of touch. Consent isn't paperwork, it's the live wire of accountability, sparking in surreal time. Conflict isn't smoothed over, it's erotic fuel. Jasper Poir's right to maim metabolized into the bruises we tend together. Aftercare isn't an amenity, it's sabotage against capitalism's disembodied grind, a cuddle punk insurrection where Alok's tenderness as antidote becomes our ungovernable protocol. Come with your hunger, your hauntings, your untamed syntax of yes, because the revolution doesn't happen in the margins, it happens in the sweat-slicked, lube-glazed spaces between bodies refusing to be legible. The salivation army is waiting. See you slingside, comrades. Yeah, that's based. Yeah, this is based. Rules of erotic engagement, because anarchy with accountability is sexy. Check your privilege at the door. This isn't Tinder. You can't swipe left on accountability. Respect boundaries like they're the last slice of cake. Ask like you mean it. Consent isn't a buzzkill, it's a bedrock of bomb sex. Oh man. Check in like your kink depends on it. Aftercare is mandatory. Capitalism already skips it. We won't. Space is communal. Entitlement is not. The problem is that all of this is really good ideas and really good stuff, but it's presented so insanely. Who is this person? High weirdness served lakeside, a world-building experiment, an ecosystem restoration project in Crato, Portugal. This is like what middle-class white anarchists do when they have too much time and money. They're like, what we're going to do is we're going to go to Portugal and get really high and just have orgies. And that is how you do the revolution. It's an acid festival. Right, okay, there you go. Am I going to come across, like, naked people? I should probably stop scrolling. Just in case I see, like, something pretty bad. This is mental. I know someone who was there last year, and apparently it was just a little gazebo. They got 92,000 followers! They got 92,000 followers. That's crazy. Oh my god, that's so crazy. Alright, this is a next one. Iran's "we shot down an Israeli jet" claim exposed as Arma 3 video game footage. Iranian downed Israeli jet claim debunked as fake Arma 3 video. Wait, what? This is from the Jerusalem Post, but on MSN? Oh, I don't believe anything from the Jerusalem Post. I'm sorry. Where's the rest of this story? How do I get to see the video? Photo credit screenshot X. I don't think that's a photo credit. Arma 3 strikes again? No, but I don't... Wait a second. Wait a second. Iran initially claims to have shot down a jet and captured a pilot. The news was denied by Israel, which spoke bluntly of fake news. A few hours later, a new announcement from Iranian sources: an Israeli plane was shot down, and there's also a video. Where? Show me the source. What are you talking about? I don't believe it, chat. It's Jerusalem Post. I don't believe it. I don't believe it for a second. Open source analyst at Bellingcat confirmed the viral clip was lifted frame by frame from a December 22 mission mod, military simulation armor. Where's the rest? Sorry, nah, don't believe it. I don't believe it. They're doing a reverse Ukraine. They're like, Iran did not capture an Israeli jet fighter. It's impossible. We don't allow hostages to be caught, and we're not going to provide any more information other than that. That's it, 1,000%. Without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. Oh, okay, chat. We're going to wind it down. We're going to wind it right down. I'm going to go and read some of my book. Maybe watch a film. Or I might just watch some video. I might just play some video games. I'm not sure. Pray for me, chat. Pray for me that I don't choose the video game option, because it is not good. It's just not good for my health. Let's go raid someone. On twitch.tv. What am I reading? I've almost finished Safe, Sane and Consensual. It's like an academic book about kink and BDSM and all that kind of stuff. I'm so close to finishing it. Let's see, who do we got? We got Zach. We could go and raid Zach. We could raid Ray-K. Yeah, let's go raid Ray-K. For sure. You got union training soon, actually? Hell yeah, let's go. Listen, chat, I got a new raid command as well, because I think Eggdog was a bit confusing for some people. If all my chatters go into like a stream and start saying like Eggdog is coming, I don't think people are going to get it. So I've changed it very slightly to I believe that we will win. So there you go. There it is if you've got the sub. There it is if you don't. Personally, I have the sub to my own channel, because that's just how that works. So I'll be doing that, won't I? And it'll look like that. Chat, thank you so much for being here tonight. It's been really, really cool. Thank you so much for the support. I've had a couple of new follows. Thank you just for being here in the chat. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for providing me with some content. Thank you for the laughs. Thanks for the solidarity and being here just in general. Yeah, take it easy. I will be back on Wednesday. See you on Wednesday when we'll go through some more stuff, and maybe we'll have enough time on Wednesday to actually do some unsolved mysteries or some fun stuff. Fingies crossed. Yeah? Fingies crossed. See you then, chat. Peace.